For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Pepsodent presents Philip Marlowe, Hollywood's famous private detective created by Raymond Chandler. Philip Marlowe, tough, cynical private eye of Murder My Sweet, the sardonic, case-hardened detective of The Brasher Doubloon, The Lady in the Lake, and The Big Sleep. You've seen him in action in all of those top-flight mystery pictures. Now, in order that you may continue to enjoy this exciting mystery series, Pepsodent brings you The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on the air with a cast of noted radio players, and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. It's the 3-to-1 favorite over all other toothpastes.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with other toothpastes at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over all other brands they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, families 3-to-1 say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away.
There was a rough desert wind blowing into Los Angeles that evening. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair, make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends up in a fight, and meek little housewives feel the edge of a carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen when the Santa Ana blows in from the desert. I closed up my office early. I got tired of reading Philip Marlowe, private investigator, backwards on the ground glass of my office door. So I opened the door and closed it from the outside and locked it and went out to get a beer before I went up to my apartment.
Filler up again, Mr. Marlin?
Marlowe.
Marlowe.
Marlin is a fish.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you bartender. Give me another ride.
Drunk again.
What'd you expect in this business? Autograph hounds?
Make it snappy, you hear?
Be right with you, sport. I gotta draw this man a beer. Crying out loud, these stumble bums who come in here...
You got another customer, Bacchus?
Hey, Bud. You seen a lady in here lately?
A lady?
Tall, good-looking, brown hair, a print bolero jacket, and a blue silk dress.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nobody like that's been in.
All right, straight scotch, fast. I left my engine running out there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This slick-looking, sarcastic guy stepped up to the bar and drank his scotch whole. Then he turned to go out, and he stopped. The drunk was grinning at him. And then, without changing his grin, the drunk swept a gun from somewhere so fast it was just a blur coming out. Made a couple of hard snaps, and a little smoke curled. Very little.
All right, you other guys. Don't move. So long, Waldo. All right, don't move, you two. Oh, Waldo. But I made his nose bleed. So long, boys. Drink up.
All right, get on that phone, kid. I'll get his license number.
Holy smoke. Holy smoke.
Not too late. Drove away with this dead guy's car.
Maybe he ain't dead.
He's dead, all right. Where's your phone? This is for the police. The prowl car boys were there in about 5 minutes. Waldo was out of business, all right, and nothing in his pockets told who he was, but he had about $700 on him. I told the cops what I knew, including about Waldo's tall, brown-haired, pretty girl in the bolero jacket. It was about 9 o'clock when I stepped out of the elevator in my apartment house and almost walked right into a tall, brown-haired, pretty girl in a bolero jacket, waiting for the elevator on my floor.
Oh, excuse me.
Just a minute, lady.
I said excuse me. I'm in a hurry. Now, if you'll be good enough
Look,
to step
you better
out of...
not go outside in those clothes.
Just what do you mean by telling me
This isn't a make. You're in trouble.
Trouble?
Yeah, the cops are looking for you in those clothes.
But I haven't done anything that...
I'm in room 41 across the hall now. I never collected an etching in my life.
All right, I'll go with you. I'll go.
I got to my room and rustled up some scotch and soda and brought the girl her glass. She had a small automatic in her hand. It jumped up at me, and her eyes were full of panic. I put down both glasses on the table slowly so that I wouldn't be misunderstood. Look, sister, maybe this wind has got you crazy, too.
Don't move. Be careful, don't move.
A man just got shot in a bar down the street. Before he got it, he'd been asking about a tall, pretty girl with a bolero jacket, like yours.
What did he look like, this man?
Tall, 5'11", slim, dark brown eyes with a lot of glitter, dark suit, white handkerchief in the breast pocket. And he must have seen you earlier tonight to know how you were dressed. Am I getting anywhere?
He used to be my chauffeur.
You had an appointment with him, didn't you?
Why?
Listen, he asked for you, didn't he?
Yes, I had an appointment with him. He'd stolen something from me when he left 3 days ago. I was going to buy it back from him.
Why didn't you tell the police?
I couldn't tell them.
It was valuable, wasn't it? Valuable enough for Waldo to steal?
$15,000.
Oh, it's peanuts.
But it wasn't the value. It meant something to me. The man I love gave it to me, and now he's dead. He was a flyer shot down over Germany. I'll go back and tell my husband that. He probably hired you.
He did? Well, how much is he paying me? And where is this husband of yours?
He's at a meeting.
This late at night?
He's a very important man. He's a hydroelectric engineer. I'll have you know that my husband is one of the...
Skip it. I'll take him out to lunch sometime and have him tell me himself. And about Waldo. Whatever he had on you is dead stock now, like Waldo himself.
You mean he's dead? Waldo is dead?
Yes, sister, he's dead. Dead. Lady, he is dead.
Oh.
Now scream and I'll give you 2 black eyes.
I'm not going to scream. Who would that be?
There's a dressing room behind that door. Hide there. Now, don't argue with me. Do it.
All right.
Then I went to the door, making a loud, yawning sound. The backs of my hands were wet. I opened the door. Without a gun, that was a mistake. I certainly knew the gun I was looking into, a .22 target automatic that had already killed 1 man that night. And I knew the bald head and the flat, shiny eyes and the face like a poisonous lizard. Baldy put the muzzle of his gun lightly against my throat. I backed into the room, and Baldy kicked the door shut.
You alone?
Look for yourself.
I'm asking, not looking.
I'm alone.
You and that dumb bartender saw me dust off Waldo.
What did Waldo do to you?
Who's asking?
Just making conversation.
He stooled on me on a bank job we did together. Got me 4 years in Michigan pen. How is he?
Dead?
I'm still good, drunk or sober. Tell me why I came here, pal.
You heard the barkeeper and me talking. I told him my name, where I lived.
That's how, pal. I said why.
Skip it. The hangman won't ask you to guess why he's there.
Oh, you're pretty tough at that, ain't you? But you're slamming off, pal.
All right, but you could get that gun out of my neck and try somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, sure. Is this better? This suits you all right?
Just so it isn't my neck.
Say when, pal. It's your party.
I leaned against the gun. The door of the dressing room showed a crack of darkness. The crack widened. I began to shake a little. The girl came quietly into the room, but there was white all around her irises. She was scared. She had her gun in her hand, but I was sorry for her. Dead sorry. She'd try to make the door scream. Either way, it'd be curtains for both of us.
You scared, mister? You worried about any little thing?
I couldn't talk. The girl floated in the air somewhere behind Baldy, and her horrified face was drifting toward us. My mouth was as cold and dry as yesterday's toast.
Well, kid, how's it feel? You ready yet? Go on, say the word.
Well, don't take all night about it if you're gonna do something about it.
Why not, pal? I like this.
Suppose I yell.
Go ahead, yell. Go ahead.
Put up your hands!
Hey, look!
Oh,
Thanks, sister. Thanks. That buys me. Everything I have is yours now and forever.
is he dead?
You flatter me no end, lady. I only punched him. All right, now get out of here while I call the cops down on this killer.
Yes. Good night. Good
Hey,
night.
wait. Leave that bolero jacket here. It marks you for the cops.
Oh, yes. Here.
Okay. See you again?
Why?
Oh, I don't know. No, I guess not. After all, who am I to be the rival of a dead flyer? I'll see that the police get Jesse James here. Good night, lady. Yeah? You mean me?
Yes, please.
Oh, you. Again, huh?
Get in. I must talk to you.
You want to know what happened at headquarters, huh?
Yes.
Well, I went down there with the law and gave them the story. I left you out of it.
Oh, thank you.
You saved my life, so no one knows a thing about you. Well, incidentally, neither do I.
Well, my name is Mrs. Frank Bosley. 212 Fremont Place, Olympia 24596. Is that what you want?
I guess so.
Well, there it is.
And why did you really come back?
I wanted my pearls.
Pearls?
Yes.
Pearls, too, huh? All right. Tell me about the pearls. We've had a murder and a beautiful mystery woman and a sadistic killer and a heroic rescue. Now we will have pearls.
I was to buy them back from the man called Waldo.
Well, I saw everything that came out of his pockets, and there weren't any pearls.
Could they be hidden in his apartment?
It's possible.
Waldo lived on the same floor you do in this apartment house.
And why didn't I know him, at least by sight?
He moved in last week. He managed to get a sublet.
Oh, great, a sort of an amateur magician on the side, huh?
It's getting rather late.
Yeah. What about your husband this hot, mysterious night?
He's still at his meeting.
Well, you could have brought him along. You could have sat in the back seat working out a problem in hydroelectrics while...
While what?
Well, I didn't have any answers that wouldn't sound cheap or just ridiculous or from the sophomore class in repartee. I had an unlit cigarette in my hand. I threw it out of the window. I took a hold of her and kissed her. She sat very still. I was shaking when I let go of her. Her voice trembled a little when she spoke.
I meant you to do that. I wasn't always that way. Only since Johnny Dalmas was killed in the war. He gave me those pearls. 41 of them perfectly matched with a diamond propeller clasp. I'd have loved them if they'd been wooden beads because he gave them to me. I love Johnny. The way you love just one time. You understand that?
What's your name?
Lola.
Lola, how did you explain a $15,000 pearl necklace to your husband?
I told him they were imitation, then I bought them myself.
How did Waldo latch onto them and what they stood for?
When my husband was in Argentina, Waldo and I'd go for long drives. I was restless and wretched because of Johnny. Sometimes Waldo and I had a little drink together, but that's all.
But you confided in Waldo about those pearls.
I was a fool.
And when your husband came back, Waldo stole the pearls and offered to sell them back to you, or he'd tell Papa, huh?
I was a fool.
And now you think the pearls are upstairs in Waldo's apartment?
I suppose it's a lot to ask.
No, sweetheart, I've been paid. I'll go look. Wait here, huh? Was the gun long, Lola?
No. Well,
No.
no pearls?
No pearls.
Oh,
There was a man in Waldo's room.
A man? Who?
You know a man named Leon Balsanos?
Not by name. I don't know.
Mexican, South American, about 45, small, iron gray hair, very neat, fawn-colored suit, wine-colored tie.
No, I don't think I know such a man. Is he the one in Waldo's room?
Yeah,
What does he have to say?
very little. In fact, nothing. He's dead.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, with music composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. It's the 3-to-1 favorite over all other toothpastes.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite 3-to-1.
The Farrell family of Evergreen Park, Illinois, preferred New Pepsodent on every single count. The Farrells say New Pepsodent tastes best of all, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter. On all these counts, by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1, families prefer New Pepsodent over all other toothpaste they've tried.
It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Farrells and other families who compared New Pepsodent with other toothpastes they had at home. Get New Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler and starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor musical Fiesta, starring Esther Williams.
I sat with Lola Barsley in her car listening to that jittery, infuriating desert wind gallop around in the midnight streets. I just told her about the Latin-looking man I'd found in Waldo's room in a very dead condition. I held her hands until they stopped trembling. Then I gave her the few remaining details. He had a gun in a shoulder holster, but someone had strangled him before he could use it.
Someone. Waldo?
Maybe. You see that convertible coupe 2 cars ahead of us?
It's been there for hours. It was there before I parked here to wait for you.
Leon, the man in Waldo's room, came in that car, but according to the key containers he carried, that isn't his car.
Whose car is it? Does it matter?
Well, it belongs to a lady according to the tag on the keys.
A lady?
Well, anyway, a woman, if you're going to split hairs. Eugenie Kolchenko. In West Los Angeles?
Never heard of her.
Uh-huh. All right, well, you go home now, huh?
What are you going to do?
Drive that flossy convertible around, wave at my friends, impress people. You run along now. Me, I've got another date.
Yes? What is it, please?
Miss Eugenie Kolchenko,
Yes? What is it?
did you lose or misplace a pigeon gray convertible coupe?
What are you saying?
Now, don't be alarmed. I found it and I brought it home to you.
Come in, please. It is a reward you wish. Shall we say...
Snap out of it, Dragon Lady. Who was he?
Who was who?
The little guy, Leon. You loaned your car to. He's dead. Who was he?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, yes.
Eugenie.
Darling, come here, please.
What's the matter, honey? Who is this man?
I came about Miss Kolchenko's car.
What about her car?
The gentleman who borrowed it couldn't return it on account of he isn't alive.
He's dead. Darling, he's dead.
Well, that's putting it more bluntly, of course.
Dead, huh?
Completely.
Who are you?
Philip Marlowe, private investigator. My card.
Mm-hmm. You told the police yet?
Never do at once what can be deferred pending negotiations. Aesop.
I might negotiate.
Oh, peachy.
What do you know, Marlowe?
A man named Waldo was shot in a bar tonight. I happened to have the inside as to who he was, and when I visited his apartment tonight, I found this Leo Balsanos dead.
He wouldn't have had $500 in 20s on him, would he?
No, but this Waldo had over $700 on him when he was killed at that cocktail bar, mostly in 20s.
Hmm.
Is there a basis there for negotiations yet?
Very well, Marlowe. I'm a married man. There were certain unpaid bills for some stuff Miss Kolchenko here had charged to my account.
But you told me I might charge to your account.
All right, so I wasn't very bright.
That might be the understatement of the decade, but go on.
I had the unpaid bill safely in my briefcase. Somehow this Waldo had a chance to steal the briefcase. I hired Leon and gave him $500 to buy back those bills from Waldo.
Instead, Waldo took Leon's dough and was forced to kill Leon in the process. And then he went out to keep another date and accidentally walked into an old pal hostile enough to blow him down.
And someone still has those bills. And I'm in for a divorce suit.
The man who shot Waldo got away in Waldo's car with your briefcase in it. Yeah, that could be. The cops caught him.
Oh. And the police have the briefcase.
Maybe. But the police are interested in solving crime, not in tossing mud for the benefit of sensation eaters. Look, I've got a friend or two at headquarters. Let me see what I can do.
It's worth $500 to me.
Well, then that's what it'll cost you.
Well, good luck. And, thank you, Mr.
Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, remember?
My name is Frank Barcelay.
Barcelay. Oh.
What does that mean?
The big hydroelectric engineer?
Yeah. How did you know?
My voices tell me.
Who?
Darling, this man is manifestly insane.
It's the heat, Miss Kolchenko. It's the Santa Ana. It's the desert wind. May I use your telephone? Someday I must tell you about Ibarra. Salt of the earth Ibarra, detective lieutenant over at Central Homicide. I phoned Ibarra from Miss Kolchenko's house and told him where he could find a well-dressed cadaver named Leon and furnished a few small details. I gave Ibarra time to check my tip, and then I went down to see the good lieutenant and told him why I'd been up in Waldo's room, only to find Leon instead of a certain lady's string of pearls.
Pearls, eh?
Well, I thought Waldo might have them up there.
Whose pearls were they?
A lady's.
Go on.
Or they might have been in Waldo's car that Waldo's killer drove away in.
Yeah.
Oh, what, yeah?
They might have.
Also a batch of unpaid bills charged to the account of a certain Frank Barcelay?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, now, the police aren't interested in domestic scandal. They want to prevent or to solve crime, right?
So?
So I've got $500 for the police fund if those pearls and those bills are returned to their rightful owners.
Quit your kidding.
No, it's a valuable necklace.
Yeah? There's your necklace.
That's it. 41 pearls, perfectly matched diamond propeller clasp. That's it. That's the one.
Take it away, Marlowe.
On the level?
Just tell me straight what it's all about, all I ask.
Sure. Well, this Waldo was blackmailing a wife with the pearls and her husband with the bills. Guy by the name of Barcelay. Well, Barcelay sent Leon to get the bills from Waldo. Instead, Waldo killed Leon, and then stepped out and happened to get shot by that guy at the bar. Now, if Barcelay's name stays out of the paper, I get $500, and that goes to the police fund.
We'll keep him out.
Well, now, I'm not in this case for money. I just want to get back the bills and the pearls.
As you say, Marlowe, the police aren't in business to sling mud.
Well, you can deliver the pearls to the lady yourself if you like. She lives at...
No, Marlowe. You better take them to her. You see, except for the diamond propeller clasp on them, they're phony.
Phony? But...
All but the clasp, Marlowe. All but the clasp.
Well, I stared at Ibarra. So the flyer, Johnny Dalmas, the great lover, had given Lola a string of fake pearls. Well, I didn't know how to tell her, but I called her up and told her to meet me at the Beachcombers at 2. I was going to slip her the bad news slowly.
I'm glad you asked me to meet you here, Mr. Marlowe. See, I had to have someone to talk to.
Go ahead. Go ahead, talk. I'm listening.
Now, Mr. Marlowe, now more than ever, I must have those pearls.
Why? Money trouble?
Oh, no. It's just that everything's gone wrong. And this morning, my husband told me we're to separate.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lola.
But if I had Johnny's pearls, it would be a link with the past and with Johnny. And all he meant to me. It's how a woman feels, Mr. Marlowe. I wouldn't blame you for not understanding.
Maybe I do, though.
So please, Mr. Marlowe, please, you'll try to find my pearls.
Lola, look.
Even if it isn't all of them. Any part of them. Any single smallest one of them. It'll be Johnny's.
Look, will you meet me here again around 4 o'clock?
I'll be here.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. There was only one earthly decent thing I could do. I took Lola's glass pearls to a jeweler, and I had him take off the diamond clasp and put it on one of those strings of so-called simulated pearls that they sell you for $3, tax included. And went back to keep my 4 o'clock date with Lola at the Beachcombers.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, anything new?
Yes, the police found some pearls in Waldo's car.
They found my pearls?
No, not exactly.
Not exactly.
Well, Waldo was getting set to gyp you, Lola. He had the diamond clasp of your necklace attached to a string of cheap imitations. And then he sold the real pearls.
Oh, how... Oh.
These are the imitations here.
Yes. But it is my clasp. The clasp is real.
Is that all right?
Yes, it's the clasp that Johnny Dalmas gave me. Of course it's all right.
Oh, that's swell.
And thank you so much, Mr. Marlowe.
Forget it.
I won't. Not ever. Well, is this goodbye?
Yeah, I think so. You'll never get over Johnny Dalmas, Lola. If anybody ever bothers you again, though, well, let me know. Name's Philip Marlowe. I drove almost to Malibu, and then I parked and walked out on a rock cliff jutting into the Pacific Ocean. Then I reached in my pocket and dug out the string of Bohemian glass pearls that Lieutenant Ibarra had found in Waldo's car. I cut the knot at one end and slipped the pearls off one by one. One by one, I flipped them into the water. The gulls swooped down on them and then flapped up again, screaming indignantly. The phony pearls had fooled Waldo and Lola Barsley, but they couldn't fool a seagull. I said to myself, to the memory of Johnny Dalmas, just another four-flusher. I listened a while to the wheeling seagulls. All at once, I realized that the wind had died. The Santa Ana had blown itself out. The red wind was done. It was over.
You have just heard Van Heflin starring in the first of a new mystery series, Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Have you tasted the new Pepsodent toothpaste? Its lingering, minty flavor is so fresh and inviting, families prefer it by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over all other toothpastes in a recent nationwide test. They said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter. Remember, new Pepsodent gives you more invigorating irium foam. It sweeps dulling film away. No wonder it's the 3-to-1 favorite with families all over America. Get new Pepsodent with irium for your family right away. Tonight's story on The Adventure of Philip Marlowe is based on Red Wind, written by Raymond Chandler, creator of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective. It was adapted for radio by Milton Geiger. Heard with Van Heflin was Lorene Tuttle as Lola Barsley. And this is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at this same time to another exciting story on The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Pepsodent presents Philip Marlowe, Raymond Chandler's famous private detective. You've seen him on the screen in Lady in the Lake, Murder My Sweet, The Brasher Doubloon, and The Big Sleep. Now Pepsodent brings you the adventures of Philip Marlowe on the air, and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with the new, cool, minty flavor. It's the 3-to-1 favorite over all other toothpastes. Yes, in a recent test, families from coast to coast compared new Pepsodent with other toothpastes at home. And by an overwhelming vote, by an average of 3-to-1, these families preferred new Pepsodent over all other toothpastes on all these counts. They said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter. Yes, on all these points, families 3-to-1 declared new Pepsodent better than the average of all other toothpaste they tried. Get it for your family right away.
There comes a certain time in the year when I don't want to see midget auto races. I just want to see midgets. When I prefer sawdust to stardust and popcorn to all other kinds of corn available in Hollywood. The circus was moving in on the grounds at Washington Boulevard and Hill Street, and I was turning in my usual fine job as sidewalk supervisor. It was exciting. It brought back all the sounds and sensations and convictions of childhood. And then someone had me firmly by the wrist, and I turned to look into a pair of steady, smoky, dark eyes that could be dangerous.
Excuse me, sir, but you are a private detective?
I'm a detective, but I don't get much privacy.
Yeah, my name is Ralph Tassanari.
Who told you I was a detective? My feet aren't that flat.
Do you know a gentleman named Alcik Anolfi?
Well, I know an Alcik Anolfi, yes.
He pointed you out. He asked me what was the big idea. What was my angle hiring a private detective? He gave me an idea.
When has Alcik Anolfi had any ideas to spare?
Mr. Marlowe, besides owning 1/3 of this very fine little circus, I am Tassanari. Of Tassanari, the Swede, and Glorian.
The trapeze stuff.
The most brilliant aerial act in the business. I own this circus with Glorian and the Swede.
Well, where does Alcik Anolfi fit in here?
Now, the Swede gets drunk and gambles fantastic sums of money. This circus is worth $250,000. Already the Swede has gambled away much more than his third of the circus. And a partner may sell out his other partners without even consulting them.
Oh, you're afraid the Swede will sell you out to pay for his debts?
Yeah, and if he did that, I should not hesitate to...
Uh-oh. Watch yourself.
Alcik Anolfi has made it plain that the gamblers expect payment immediately now. Would you consider giving us your protection during the 3 days we're going to be here?
$25 a day in expenses. That's the nut.
Cheap enough.
I know, but you see, I'm a sucker for circuses. Yeah?
Is this the office of Philip Marlowe?
Better still, this is Philip Marlowe.
Ralph Tassanari hired you this morning, didn't he?
Go ahead.
This is his partner, Glorian. I'm in a downtown bar with a Swede, and he's terribly drunk. I know this isn't your job, but won't you come down and help me get him sobered up for the night? Please?
All right. Mother Marlowe will be right down. I found the Main Street bar where Glorian said I'd find her and the Swede. The Swede was potted like Grandma's begonia, and with the help of the bartender and 4 professional loafers, we got him into my car. I told Glorian to drive.
Yeah. Leave me alone, will you? I'm all right.
Well, just take it easy.
Where shall I drive, Mr. Marlowe?
Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. I'll stay back here and wrestle the Swede for the championship.
I just left him alone for an hour to do some shopping.
Yeah. I'm telling you something, honey girl. At Tassanari makes any more passes at you, I'll beat him brainless.
Oh, please don't pay any attention to him, Mr. Marlowe. He thinks everyone at the circus is in love with
Okay,
me.
now back in your seat.
Yeah, and that flip doctor, too.
Oh, be still.
I'm telling you something, honey girl.
One of these days, I'm going to get absent-minded on that trapeze, and I'm not going to catch your friend Tassanari. How's that, huh?
Don't listen to him, Mr. Marlowe.
Well, then tell Muscles to let go of my ear.
Yeah, perfect crime. Who'd know if it was an accident or not? And then I'd own half a circus instead of just a third.
Please, Mr. Marlowe. He's drunk.
Yeah, but drunk or sober, he's got one doozy of an idea there. Drunk or sober.
Hey, my wrist, what's that?
I knew some interns at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital who obliged with some oxygen and a mask. A half hour of breathing that oxygen deeply, and the Swede was stone cold sober and back in my car again. He was making certain cagey explanations.
Marlowe, you don't want to take that stuff I was mumbling about seriously, you know. I was drunk.
You certainly were.
After all, Gloria Ann's my wife.
Oh?
Naturally, I don't like other guys giving her the eye. But that screwy talk about me dropping Tassanari accidentally on purpose, forget it.
Yeah, the perfect crime.
I was only talking, Marlowe. I wouldn't do that to Tassanari.
Of course not. You'd be all broken up about it, wouldn't he? I sat in a field box that evening as the small, neat circus unwound toward the big act. And the big moment arrived with butterflies warming up in my stomach and a pulse thumping madly in my neck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tassanari and the Swede, who will ascend to the dizzy upper limits of the top, playing without a net, without a net, mind you, will execute the most daring maneuvers ever witnessed on the high trapeze. Ladies and gentlemen, the daring and death-defying Tassanari and the Swede.
Tassanari and the Swede came bounding into the arena and over to the two spidery ladders that zoomed up into the very peak of the big tent. Up there where it was hot, high, and dangerous, two magnificently made men climbing that slim ladder, their brilliant capes flowing behind them, going up higher, smaller, higher. And then they were on their tiny platforms, removing their capes grandiosely. And they turned, faced each other across the void like divers. Not a voice, not a breath, not a sound. I began to perspire. The net was being gathered back. Then suddenly, Tassanari raised his right arm and smiled, dropped his arm, and the Swede shot out into space like a comet, and the gay, waltzing, somehow insane music began. It was all the announcer said, at least to me, daring and terrifying. Whirl and spin and contact. Swing, 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 and spin. Spinning and whirling, contact and break. Hands locked to rosined hands. Contact and break. Spin, whirl, cartwheel, and contact. Swing, 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 and leap. Split-second timing and the split-second split again, with trapeze bars flying into place where and when they were needed. I looked away, my head drumming and swimming. And I looked up again. I looked up, and the thing that had been tying my stomach in cold, hard knots, the thing I was afraid of, happened. Look out! The music played a gay tune. The clowns poured into the arena, grinning happily. I saw the youngish, handsome doctor race across the sawdust, followed by Gloria Ann. Across the arena, I saw Al Sicanolfi get up and disappear into the crowd. I went out, too. Outside, I managed to get a shaking match to a quaking cigarette. In my mind, I heard again and again the drunken voice of the flying Swede come back to me.
One of these days, I'm going to get absent-minded on that trapeze, and I'm not going to catch your friend Tassanari. How's that, huh?
Only it was all wrong. It didn't add up. Because the body that had plummeted to the ground hadn't been the body of Ralph Tassanari, but of the man who had plotted the perfect crime, Gloriana's husband. the Flying Swede.
Marlowe.
What? Oh.
You were in there?
Yes, I saw it, Gloria.
I think I could kill Ralph for this.
You think Tassinari dropped your husband purpose?
What do you think?
Look, Lorian, I took this job, you know why, and well, all this reminded me of myself when I was a kid reading Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and believing them. Well, I still believe in them. I felt the same way about the circus. The last childish illusions a man holds on to so he doesn't get too hard.
You're not tough at all, are you?
I was going to like this job, and then this happened. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry we failed you.
No. Look, Lorian, the Swede is dead, and you think Tassinari killed him, but it's the perfect crime. You can't prove anything.
Look, maybe I didn't love the Swede very much, but he was my husband and on the square.
Did you love Tassinari?
If I did, it's all over now. I'm going to prove to everybody in circus business at least that he killed my husband.
Yeah, well, how?
You'll see, little boy. Tonight.
I watched her go back into the big tent, and then I drove home and dreamed all night of Al Sicanalfi smiling his yellow smile and disappearing into the crowd. I got up late and went down for coffee and a newspaper. The story was there on page 1. Also, a silky, leggy picture of Gloriana, beneath it the caption reading, "Show must go on, dares high trapeze with Tassinari after mate falls to death." I looked at my watch. It was late, later than I thought. For the daring young dame on the flying trapeze, it was almost too late.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. It's the 3-to-1 favorite over all other toothpastes in recent home tests. Like families from coast to coast, the James M. Sinclair family, East 2nd Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, like new Pepsodent better than any other toothpaste. In fact, Mrs. Sinclair says,
"This new Pepsodent's made a big hit with our whole family, especially my son, Jimmy. He's so crazy about that Pepsodent flavor, it's less of a problem getting him to brush his teeth now. My husband likes the way Pepsodent leaves his mouth feeling so much cleaner and his breath fresher. And as for me, I've never found any toothpaste better for brightening my teeth."
yes, families from coast to coast, by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1, say new Pepsodent is better than any other toothpaste they tried. Better for taste, better for cleaning the breath, better for brightening teeth. Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Sinclairs and other families who compared new Pepsodent with brands they had at home. So why not have your family try new Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium? Get it without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler and starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Hucksters, starring Clark Gable.
The lion act was going on when I arrived at the circus grounds and practically ran to Glorianne's tent. She was in her tights and cloak, ready to go on. Look, Glorianne, you're kidding. This is a gag. You're not going up there.
In 1 minute, little boy.
Well, you're out of your mind.
I'm going up with Tassinari to prove you to kill the Swede.
You add that up. My arms are full of bundles.
Tassinari agreed to go up with me. Why? Why aren't his nerves shattered after yesterday? Because he knows he didn't make a mistake yesterday. He knows he dropped my husband purposely. And not because his timing or reactions were wrong. Do I make sense?
Up to a point.
You're thinking he may drop me purposely.
And I wouldn't like that.
He won't drop me.
What makes you so sure?
Because Tassinari loves me. He wants me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, go to it, little girl. watched Glorianne, so small and slim and fragile, as she went up that thin ladder. My throat swelled tight, and the butterflies took off in my stomach again. She was on the platform, removing her silk cape, folding it carefully over the rail. They were facing each other, smiling. Smiling. Dead, sultry silence. Then... For minutes I sat there, petrified, watching her, cold sweat channeling down my back. For 10 minutes I stopped breathing. I died. Once, only once, I had to close my eyes, and in that second I heard the crowd roar. Everyone was standing up, screaming and goggle-eyed. I groped to my feet, and there she was. Bowing and laughing and throwing kisses into the crowd and at Tassinari and at me. Then she pirouetted and ran up the ramp to her dressing tent. I got there with Tassinari. Her eyes warmed for me and then froze again for Tassinari.
Come in, little boy. And you, Tassinari.
Tassinari? Ralph also is the name I bear.
Today I talked to Tassinari. Now I want Mr. Marlowe to hear what I have to say to you. Which is first that I'm through with you.
Glorianne. Not because of the accident.
Yes. But because it was not an accident.
You don't believe that?
May I suggest that maybe Al Sikanolfi has a meaty part in this picture?
No. Tassinari here killed the Swede.
Glorianne, that's not true.
Dr. Stowe seems to think as I do.
Ah, yes, Dr. Stowe. I did pass your tent last night after the accident.
Accident?
I heard you and the cap-eyed, unsuccessful doctor speaking together, oh, so intimately.
Bear your insult, Tassinari.
Speaking together, deciding conveniently, perhaps, that I killed the Swede.
Richard never accused you. He only said
Oh, he's the one, eh? Richard.
Get out.
If I wanted to murder a man, it would be easy to take my gun from my trunk and shoot him.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be the perfect crime.
Why should I want to kill the Swede?
Because he might have sold you out to pay his debts. Because you'd get half of his share of the circus. Because you were in love with his wife.
I see. You think you have a case, huh?
I hope not. Glorianne knows what I mean.
Only perhaps Tassinari had better go now.
Yeah. I'm very sorry, Glorianne. For all of us. Good day. Good day, Mr. Marlowe.
He padded out softly like a panther, resentment and hatred smoldering in his eyes.
That was horrible, little boy. I better lie down now.
I left wondering if there'd be a show that night, tradition or no tradition. I walked for a half an hour, and then a police squad car came screaming down Washington Boulevard toward the circus grounds. Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the noonday sun, but Marlowe runs in it. I found a small colony of cops in one of the dressing tents. The man on the cot had taken a lot of pulses in his time, but he didn't have a single one to show for it, not even his own. Good-looking, youngish Dr. Richard W. Stowe was dead. Detective Lieutenant Ibarra held out a small automatic to me.
Hello, Marlowe. I hear you've been masterminding things around here lately. Ever see this gun before?
I may have heard of it.
A man named Ralph Tassinari, connected with this show, has disappeared. Know something about that?
He was fresh from a lover's quarrel last I saw him.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe just out walking it off.
Possibly. But the dead doctor and Tassinari both went for a pretty little trapeze queen named Glorianne.
Was anything stolen here?
No. The circus hand who heard the muffled shot came running before anything could have been taken.
Well, the gal, Glorianne, how does she feel about this?
She's in her tent, heavily committed to a case of hysterics. Marlowe, divvies on any information you get out of her.
Look, Glorianne, you can't go on like this. Now let me get something for you.
I'll be all right.
Just a sedative to settle your nerves.
Oh, no, we never take such things. It's bad for going up on the track. No, I'll sleep. That's the best thing. Sleep.
But you can't go up there tonight. Anyway, Tassineri's missing. I'll go see what I can find for you. I rummaged through Dr. Stowe's medical bag while Ibarra watched from across the tent. I found a small black book. I leafed through it with my hand still hidden in the bag. It was a small case history book with sketchy data about his cases, the treatment given, the medication prescribed. I very quietly tore out the last page, palmed it, and slipped it in my pocket as I creaked to an approximate upright position.
Find anything to quiet the little woman, Marlowe?
No, not a thing, Lieutenant, not a thing. I'll try a drugstore.
Tablets of cyclodone, grains 1.5. 1 tablet with warm water for nerves or sleep.
What is it?
It's a common sedative, but I can't sell you any without a prescription.
Well, can you tell me anything about those drugs?
Some, but you'll find a lot more in Dr. Torald Solman's textbook on pharmacology.
Textbook of pharmacology?
It's only in the main library, I think, but it's complete. That'll tell you all you want to know, I'm sure.
The druggist was right. The textbook of pharmacology told me all I wanted to know. Also, this was a very limited edition. It was probably the only one of its kind that had on the page devoted to cyclodrome a smudge of lipstick in the shape of a woman's fingerprint. It was all and more than I wanted to know. And all at once, I was old, very old. From now on, I was going to leave illusions to high school girls and magicians.
Hello, little boy. Back again.
I see you're dressed for work, Glorian.
Has Tassinari returned?
I wouldn't know. But I think I do know who killed the Swede.
Tassinari.
I gravely doubt that.
Well, then who? Not Elphick and Alfie.
Glorian, you're a dainty little thing, and that's a particular reason why you should break yourself of little unsightly habits, like touching your fingers to your mouth to turn back pages in books.
Are you all right, little boy?
Was the Swede all right when he went up with Tassinari last night?
Oh, well, of course.
Or was he just slightly under the influence of a sedative drug that calms the nerves? Yes, but slows up their reaction time.
I don't understand such matters.
You admitted to me today that it isn't wise to take such sedatives before your act. But you did get a prescription for such tablets from Dr. Stowe, and you said nothing about them.
Well, I was upset after the Swede was killed. I needed something.
But according to Dr. Stowe's casebook, you got the tablets before the Swede was killed. And you left him at the bar for an hour yesterday while you did a little medical research at the main library. And that night, the Swede's split-second timing didn't quite split, did it? Of course you weren't afraid to go up with Tassinari today. He didn't miss the Swede missed him.
I hated him.
You didn't want him. You just wanted the circus, all of it. So you killed the Swede with his own perfect crime. Only it was too perfect. You couldn't pin the murder on Tassinari. You had to think of something more down to earth.
Go on, little boy. Make Glorianne proud of you.
Dr. Stowe knew that you hated your husband. He knew that you had those tablets. He knew that the Swede didn't make mistakes. Last night, when Tassinari heard you and Stowe whispering together here, Stowe was telling you what he suspected, wasn't he? He was a doctor, and he is furious at the thought of being used in a murder.
You're raising your voice. You'll upset me.
No. Well, if you didn't shut up the doctor, he'd talk. So you shot him with Tassinari's gun after staging a very nice row with Tassinari in front of me. That would pin it on Tassinari. You let Stowe take you in his arms to muffle the shot. That was particularly pretty.
No, little boy, was not.
No, it was not.
Little boy, you've had a bitter day.
Well, it's time that I grew up anyway.
That's for my act. And Gloria.
I've sent for the police, Glorianne. They'll be here pretty soon.
Little boy, Atheniah's there. He's waiting in the runway across the arena. He came back.
He doesn't even know he's wanted, probably.
Oh, little boy, I have let you down. Let me make it up a little. Let me go out there.
Will you come down again?
Yes, of course.
By the ladder, I mean.
I won't let you down again, little boy. I promise it. We circus people won't disappoint you again. Please. They're waiting.
Well, the show must go on, mustn't it? All right, go ahead, lady. They're waiting. She ran out, laughing and throwing kisses, and I walked out after. Stood in the runway watching. I watched the small, delicate figure going up the ladder. Then she was at the platform. Rosin on shoes, rosin on the hands and wrists. And sultry silence, not a voice, not a breath. And then she was raising her hand in a gesture of exquisite grace and sureness and smiling at Tassinari. Smiling. And there it was. This was it. There. Ghostly packs of small fry from my school days gaped up with me and shivered with kid delight. I was a kid again, gawking up at the circus guy and the circus lady, the daring young dame on the flying trapeze, Tassinari and Glorianne, for positively the last performance anywhere on earth.
You have just heard Van Heflin starring in the new mystery series, Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment. Have you tasted the new Pepsodent toothpaste? Its lingering, minty flavor is so fresh and inviting, families prefer it by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over all other toothpastes in a recent nationwide test. They said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter. Remember, new Pepsodent gives you more invigorating irium foam. It sweeps dulling film away. No wonder it's the 3-to-1 favorite with families all over America. Get new Pepsodent with irium for your family right away. Now here's Van Heflin, star of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe.
King Leopardi had the hottest trumpet and the coldest eye in show business, and he loved yellow silk, so they called him the King in Yellow. We consider his short, eventful life next week when, as Philip Marlowe, I have some business with the King in Yellow.
Tonight's story was written by Milton Geiger, based on the character of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective, created by Raymond Chandler. Heard with Van Heflin tonight as Glorianne was Lorene Tuttle. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at this same time to another exciting mystery on The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Philip Marlowe, the famous private detective of Murder My Sweet and The Lady in the Lake, created by Raymond Chandler, brought to you on the air by Pepsodent, and starring MGM's dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with the new, cool, minty flavor. It's preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is a favorite 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other brand they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, families 3-to-1 say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away. Now, Van Heflin in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe.
Hollywood after midnight is like any other city after midnight. Night moves in and the city becomes hushed and stealthy. The nightclubs close up one by one, but now and then the police whistle and the prowl car siren serenade the sleeper. If you've got any cop in you at all, you get on edge and you have to get dressed and go out and walk it off to relax. Well, I was relaxing past the Swank Carlton Hotel on the Sunset Strip about 1 a.m. when all of a sudden, recess was over.
Hey, Marlowe. That you, Marlowe?
It was George Millar, the quiet-spoken night clerk of the Carlton, hailing me from the doorway, probably to Mucha Melacrino. No, I was wrong.
Hey, look, Marlowe. You're very busy right now?
Why, Millar? If I may be as cagey as all that.
We've got some trouble on the 8th floor.
Where's Curly, your fearless house dick?
Tonight he has to have a hangover.
What's the beef on floor 8?
King Leopardi. Do you know him?
King Leopardi? Oh, that's the sweetest trump this side of Gabriel. Is he tenting here tonight?
He's in the corridor on the 8th floor, dressed in yellow pajamas, and he's trumpet. There's a girl with him, and they're putting on a jam session.
Well, suppose the king rejects my diplomatic notes.
Well, get rough, but only if you have to.
Okay, thanks. But a guy with such an ear for music ought to listen to reason. All right, I'll be down 5 minutes, Millar. Hey, King, that's all, boy.
Oh, suffer about mellow, King and yellow. More schmaltzerino, more.
I said, all right, King, the party's over. Hey!
Were you addressing me, peasant?
I said, wrap it up, can it? Put it on ice. The show is over.
Ha!
Conk him, King. King Conk, that's what he is, King Conk. Let him have it, King.
Fanfare to a nosy house dick, as follows.
All right, now look, Yellow Pants, wrap up your bugle and buzz off. Now hit the grit.
Oh, you're tougher than a 40-cent steak, aren't you? Well, this'll make you soft and tender. Here!
Attaboy, King. Hit him again for me.
All right, hit me with that trumpet, will you? Okay, King. Ooh. Now, come on, get up, get dressed, and get out.
How can he? He's out cold.
I'll be glad to pack for him. And you get back to your room, too.
Listen, Copper, I don't have to do
anything.
anything.
Get going, sister. Come on, jump. The door to room 815 was ajar. I went in and began tossing a lot of that yellow silk that the king liked so well into his suitcases. Something at the small desk stopped me. Tucked under the corner of the desk blotter was a note. It was assembled from words and letters cut out of newspapers and pasted on a telegraph blank. It said, 10 grand by Thursday night, Leopardi, or else. Her brother. I slipped the note in my pocket and went out in the corridor just as the king staggered past me into his room. I could get an infection from the dirty look he gave me as he slammed the door after him. The door 2 suites away opened a crack and then shut again very quickly. went over and knocked.
Beat it, copper.
I want to talk to you.
I don't want to hear from you.
Okay, here I come, sister. Ready or not?
I'll blow you down, so help me, I'll let you have it.
Lay that pistol down, babe. Come on,
Get out
come
before
on.
you pick up weight you didn't count on.
And what would the little girl be doing with a .25 automatic, I wonder?
A girl needs protection with insects like you around.
Look, what's your name?
Little Bo Peep.
Okay, but what does little boy Blue with a horn mean to you?
I admire his work.
Do you know King Leopardi?
No.
Well, what are you doing in a place like this? I can tell you can't afford it. What's your angle?
I won a soap contest.
All right, baby. You want it that way?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to make a phone call. It won't cost you a nickel. Hello, desk. Millar? Miss Marlowe. I'm calling for the lady in room 811. She's checking out. I had a little trouble up there, Millar. Your two noisy guests will be checking out any minute. Okay?
Oh, well, I hate for things to happen on my shift.
Well, the king bopped me with his bugle, and the girl had a gun.
Gee, nice people.
Yeah, how come you put a floozy like that girl so close to the king?
Well, I didn't.
Another
Quillen,
thing.
the day man did.
Look, there was a receipt for rent to Miss Marilyn Delorme on the telephone table in her room.
Well, that wasn't the name she gave Quillen.
Apartment 211, Ridgeland Apartments, Cord Street, L.A. She lives right in town in a cheap neighborhood, but she checks in here at a price she can't afford and gives a phony name. Now, why? Why? Cord Street, where Marilyn Delorme lived, was Old Town, Arty Town, Crook Town. It was afternoon when I got off the cogwheel car that climbs the steep hill to where the Ridgeland Apartments sat on the top of Bunker Hill. I went up dim, dusty stairs to apartment 211, and I tapped on the door. There was no answer, so I tried the door. It was unlocked. The room inside was dim with stagnant gloom. Marilyn Delorme was in. I didn't talk to her, though. I didn't think she'd want to make much conversation with those blue bruises about her throat, where she'd been strangled. I got out of there fast, wiping off doorknobs like Uriah Heep polishing apples for his boss. I found King Leopardi at his job at the Club Belvedere. He was relaxing at a table in the bar with a kind of a girl commonly referred to as a knockout. She looked tall, and her hair was the color of a brush fire seen through clouds of dust. I pulled in my chin and then walked over to the table. Hello, Leopardio Maestro. You remember me?
I'm sorry, I can't say that. Why, you dirty keyhole snooper.
King, please don't start anything
You
again.
left a certain little note in your hotel room last
Get out,
night.
dime a dozen.
That wasn't all. That dame with you
I
last
said
night.
beat it.
King, sit down.
Beat it and take this with you.
There's not much snap in that punch, King. Would you like to try it again?
I have had some drinks. I'll see you later when I'm okay. See you later, too, Dolores, after the floor show.
I'm sorry, Miss...
Sit down. You've made us conspicuous enough as it is.
Now, wait a minute.
Sit
Look,
down.
Let's get... All right, thanks. Well, that's what I get for being a little gentleman and letting him pepper me without a comeback.
No, he's always spoiling for a fight.
The king just can't control these dukes, can he?
You better have a drink.
All right. Coke with bitters.
That's what I love about Hollywood. You meet so many eccentrics.
Yeah, but you see, I'm the kind of a guy who starts with a short beer and wakes up in Shanghai with a full beard. Is this on me or is it on you?
Well, that depends.
Well, how's champagne? Mum's Cordon Rouge, shall we say, huh?
It's on you.
It's on me. Coke with bitters.
How did you get to know King Leopardi?
Oh, I just happened to throw him out of his hotel last night.
Oh, house detective, huh?
No. Filling in for a friend. Philip Marlowe, private investigator's the general tag.
Oh.
How did you happen to get to know the king?
I once sang in his band, but not for long.
Well, then, look, tell me, would it be hard for a woman to get to him?
Only if he was surrounded by a wall of fire.
If the woman had a gun?
Why?
Well, I found this threat note on his desk last night. It asked for $10,000 or else, and is signed her brother.
Well?
Well?
Yes. A woman with a gun could get to him, and everybody would give her a great big hand.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll skip that Coke and bitters and say good day and thank you, Christabel.
The name is Dolores.
Oh, good afternoon, Miss Drury.
Chiozza. Dolores Chiozza.
Oh, Chiozza. Fare thee well, Miss Chiozza.
Formal, aren't you?
So long, Dolores.
So long, Philip. If I hear of anything, I'll toss it your way.
The evening papers carried a squib about Marilyn Delorme found strangled in her Cord Street apartment. That was all, dead end. Until about 1 o'clock in the morning when the telephone started having hysterics on my night table.
Yeah.
Philip, this is Dolores.
Dolores. Dolores? Oh, yeah, sure.
Will you come over to my place right away? 2412 Renfrew Street, below Fountain.
Hey, wait a minute.
It's a sort of bungalow court. Mine is the last one in line.
Well, sure, but wait a minute. What's the matter? Dolores, look, what's the matter?
King Leopardi is here, too.
King Leopardi.
He passed out in my den. It's absurd, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absurd. And it'll cost you $20.
All right, but hurry. Please hurry.
All right, I'll be right over. Phone calls in the dead of night. I should have been a midwife.
Oh, come in, Philip. I'm sorry I woke you at this hour.
That's okay. I always get up around this time anyhow to take my bitters and answer phone calls. Where is he?
May I have a cigarette?
Sure.
Thanks.
Right? Where did you say he was now?
In my den. Oh, Philip. Philip, he isn't drunk at all. Did you really think he was drunk? He's dead.
What?
The king is dead. Long live the... With my gun.
Well, good for you. The lady wins the large Cupid doll. Hey, come on, let's go and look at him.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. It's preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. Families all over America say new Pepsodent is their favorite 3-to-1.
The Paul A. Thompson family, Summer Street, Stamford, Connecticut, preferred new Pepsodent on every single count. The Thompsons say new Pepsodent tastes best of all, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter. On all these counts, by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1, families prefer new Pepsodent over any other toothpaste they tried.
It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Thompsons and other families who compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. Get new Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Hucksters, starring Clark Gable.
Dolores showed me to the den in the back of the house. Trumpet man King Leopardi was lying on the studio couch, large, smooth, and artificial looking even in death. A small Mauser automatic hung loosely in his right hand. There was a bullet hole in his golden yellow sport coat, right over his heart. Dolores, is this your gun?
Yes. Someone gave it to me once. I don't even know how to use it.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Come
I
on now.
don't expect you or anyone to believe me.
Don't expect anything. Just tell it.
Well, I was out late. I sing at KFQC on a late 15-minute program. Agatha and I got home about 11:30.
Who's Agatha, the cat?
My maid. I came into the den for some liquor and fizz water and found him. Like that. I sent Agatha home so she wouldn't find him. Finally, I thought of calling you.
Well, he got in here. How?
I don't know.
Were you ever in love with him?
The king never loved anyone.
I asked if you loved him.
I hated everything about him.
It's even better to tell the cops that is but copacetic.
But I can't help it. It's the truth.
Dolores, look. Go on out in the other room and buy yourself a drink. I want to be alone here with tall, dead, and handsome. Go on now, huh? After Dolores had taken her white face out of that room, I could work better. I went through the king's pocket and found his key ring. One key fit very nicely in the lock of the back door. I went to the living room where Dolores was huddled against the arm of the Davenport trying to become a part of the pattern. Dolores, how long has Agatha been with you?
2 years.
Did you ever steal anything from you?
Small things, that's all. A pair of nylons now and then. I didn't mind. Why?
Well, she sold a key to somebody. A key to this apartment.
Oh, what's the difference, Philip? We're wasting time. I'm done for as a nice person. They'll think it was a lover's quarrel and I shot him. Or that he shot himself over me.
Well, you don't die from the latter, though.
Your reputation does. And I care about what people think of me.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes me for you again, lady.
Thanks, Philip.
Now, look, suppose you give me a description of Agatha and tell me where she lives. I want to talk to her. Tonight. I drove down Brighton Avenue looking for the house Dolores had described to me. All at once, I slammed on my brakes. In the driveway of a vacant house stood a small coupe. Dolores had described Agatha's car, and that was it. And Agatha did not live in an empty house. I got out and walked up the gravel driveway and looked into the car. And then I got back in my own car and drove until I found an all-night drugstore. I phoned Detective Lieutenant Ibarra. Hello, Ibarra. Write this down. Brighton Avenue, 3200 block, west side. Driveway of empty house. Car parked with dead woman in it. When alive, answered to the name of Agatha. Strangled. I went back to the Carlton Hotel where it all started the night before. Quillen, the head day clerk, was on night duty. That surprised me a little bit. It was 2 a.m. and very empty, very quiet in the lobby. That was fine.
Well, if it isn't Marlowe, the old clues man. A good morning, and tripe like that.
Hello, Quillen. Look, how come you're on duty?
Millar went on vacation this a.m. His brother has a cabin at Crestline on the Arrowhead Road.
Oh, I didn't even know he had a brother.
Now you know.
Quillen, look, how come an old hotel man like you registers floozies like that Marilyn Delorme on the same floor with people like King Leopardi?
What?
You heard me, mine host.
I didn't register the girl or Leopardi. Millar did.
What?
You heard me.
Well, why was the room between their rooms empty last night in times like these?
Well, Millar had it marked on change. Plumbing out of whack or something. Why?
Oh. Well, here's why. A lad with a passkey could have gone into that room and then unlocked the 2 connecting doors. And then you could have run a bus service between the girl's room and Leopardi's.
What are you driving at?
That girl in 811 had a gun and Leopardi had a threat letter last night. Now, here's what I want you to do. Call the hotel where Leopardi's staying now and ask if he's there.
Why?
Because. Good enough?
Best reason in the world. Wife always uses it. Wait here.
In about 3 minutes, Quillen came back and leaned on the counter again.
Leopardi isn't there. I talked to a guy in his suite who was almost sober. He said Leopardi got a call about 11 from some girl.
What girl?
Well, he didn't know. But Leopardi went out preening himself.
Okay, thanks, Quillen.
Anything to do with that brawl you had with Leopardi here last night?
No, all in the spirit of boyish mayhem.
Ah, that 815 has a jinx on it, you know. Girl shot herself there 2 years ago.
What?
A girl shot herself there.
Yeah, you said that, but what girl?
I don't know what her real name was.
Look here, Quillen. I want to see your hotel files of that day 2 years ago and all the newspaper clippings about it. Come on.
All right. Let go of my arm, physical culture. I'll get the keys to the record room.
I read the hotel files of that day 2 years ago, and I read the newspaper clippings of that suicide in 815. Then I asked Quillen just where George Millar's brother had his cabin in the mountains. It was just getting light when I pulled up at the cabin, high against a growth of dagger pine and cedar. Smoke was curling from the chimney. Someone was awake. George Millar himself opened the door.
Well, Marlowe! Well, gee, it's good to see you. How'd you ever find us up here? How about some bacon and eggs?
The answer in my brief Marlowe morning manner is yes.
Well, that's swell. I'll wake up my brother and we'll all eat together, huh?
You don't have to wake me up. I'm up.
Oh, hello, Gaff.
Who's your friend, George?
Gaff, this is Philip Marlowe. You've heard me talk of him.
How are you, Marlowe?
Gaff Tally. That the name?
Yeah, my brother. That's his fighting name. He used to be a heavyweight boxer.
Fighter. Boxers dance. Fighters fight.
Let's get coffee started, huh? Marlowe's hungry.
Yeah, say, I've had a busy night. King Leopardi's been bumped off.
Bumped off?
Lowbrow for killed. Vernacular for murder. The king is dead, though.
Where? How?
In a girl's apartment. Nice girl, too. The old suicide gag. But it could ruin the girl.
Oh, gee, that's lousy.
Yeah, but it won't work. It was murder.
What makes you think it was murder?
Well, Gaff, the way I cased the job, the kill was supposed to have been pulled in his room 815 at the Carlton Hotel night before last.
Is that a fact now?
Yeah. I spoiled it by giving the king the merry heave-ho before the girl in 811 could get to him. Didn't I, George?
I guess you did, Marlowe.
Yeah. Of course, it would have been poetic justice if King Leopardi had been killed in the same room where a girl committed suicide 2 years ago, registered as Mary Smith. Usual name, Eve Tally. Did you hear that, Gaff Tally? Eve Tally.
I heard it, Marlowe. So he had a sister named Eve, shot herself in 815 at the Carlton. So what?
So, George here told me that Quillen registered that professional gun girl in 815 night before last. Oh, no. George registered her.
So?
So George kept the room between the girl and Leopardi vacant. When everything was quiet, he'd open the communicating doors, and Marilyn Delorme would walk into the king's room, muffle her .25 in a pillow, and shoot the king in his sleep. How am I doing, boys?
Fine, Marlowe. How am I doing?
Gaff, put away that gun.
I'll bet you even checked on 118 Cord Street.
I found Marilyn Delorme strangled. She knew too much. For a few bucks, you boys got Agatha to call Leopardi last night from the radio station and pretend she was Dolores with an interesting invitation. The king always had a yen for Dolores, and he came running. You shot the king before Dolores came home and left him in her den. Then Gaff got rid of Agatha. She knew too much, too.
Leopardi was the worst kind of a rat, Marlowe. We loved our sister. She fell for him, and he threw her out. She killed herself. Now, what would you do, Marlowe?
Take his gun, George. Don't get between us or behind him. This 45 goes right on through.
I'll have to take your gun, Marlowe.
Yeah. Well, always treat it like your own, won't you, George?
Got it, George?
I've got it.
Stand out of the way.
Does it have to be this way, Gaff?
Yeah, it has to be this way.
Sure, George and Gaff, the avengers of innocent girlhood in their righteous indignation.
Shut up, Marlowe.
Lynch mobs, tar and feather merchants, and other laws unto themselves take notice. George and Gaff, they wrote the book.
Say your prayers, Big Mouth.
Hey, Gaff, there's been enough killing.
Get out of
No,
the way.
Gaff, I won't.
I swear I'll let you have
No,
it, too.
Gaff!
I'm warning you.
Goodbye, Gaff. I'm sorry, Gaff. I had to do it.
George, he's dead.
Listen, I had to do it, Gaff. I just had to. You understand, don't you, Marlowe?
Yeah, I understand.
He was a killer. He killed 3 people. He wasn't going to kill a 4th. I wanted to finish Leopardo out in the open and take what came, but Gaff tried to do it cute. I didn't know Leopardo was dead until you told me, Marlowe.
I believe you, George.
Yeah. Here's your gun back, Marlowe. It shoots fine.
I put in a big pitch for George at headquarters. After all, he hadn't killed anybody except Gaff, and that was in self-defense and in defense of an unofficial copper named Marlowe. He won't get off scot-free, but he won't inhale cyanide either at the taxpayer's expense. After I talked to Ibarra at headquarters, I telephoned Dolores Chiosa. I didn't give her the sordid details, but just told her not to worry, that she was in the clear.
Philip. Oh, thank you, Philip. I'm so relieved. I'm so grateful.
I'm so thirsty.
Well, come on over then.
Hey, wait a minute. Now, is this fiesta on you or is it on me?
Why?
Well, I mean, do I drink Coke and bitters or Cordon Rouge?
It's on me.
All right, then. Champagne it is, baby. But look, let me bring the glasses, huh?
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the new mystery series, Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment.
Men, here's an important announcement. News about a sensational hair tonic discovery. It's Trim Hair Tonic made by Pepsodent. For the first time, science has created a hair tonic with pure virgin olive oil. There's no finer hair and scalp conditioner. Yes, because it contains pure virgin olive oil, Trim Hair Tonic conditions your scalp as it grooms your hair. Get new Trim Hair Tonic during the big 1-cent introductory sale at toilet goods counters now. 2 60-cent bottles, $1.20 value, only 61 cents. Ask for Trim Hair Tonic with olive oil.
Now, concerning next week's show, here's our star, Van Heflin.
Philip Marlowe crouched in the darkness of Beverly Glen and waited for those footsteps to come closer. And then all at once, the Sandman hit him without bothering to remove the sand from the sandbag. And when Marlowe woke up in the morning, his wallet and his gun were gone. And he was wanted for murder.
Tonight's story was adapted by Milton Geiger from The King in Yellow by Raymond Chandler, creator of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at the same time to another exciting mystery on the adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective, created by Raymond Chandler, brought to you on the air by Pepsodent, and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with the new, cool, minty flavor. Yes, in a recent test, new Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite, 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other brand they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, in a recent survey, families 3-to-1 said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away. Now, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin.
The moment old man Jeter came into my office, I made up my mind not to vote for him if he ever ran for president. He was tall and thin with straight, compressed white lips. He wore a neat pinstripe flannel suit with a small rosebud in the lapel. He carried an ebony cane, and he wore spats. He looked a smart 60, and unless his ulcers got nasty, I gave him another 15 years, which was pretty big of me. He sat down, speared me with those barbed gray eyes, and came right down to business.
Mr. Philip Marlowe, I believe?
That's right.
My name is Wadsworth Jeter.
How do you do, Mr. Jeter?
You're a private detective?
Well, why not?
Frankly, sir, I'd expected the Hollywood detective's office to be somewhat more glamorous or rather more elegant, shall we say?
Well, Philo Vance has a branch office here on the 4th floor if you're shopping around.
No. You'll do, I'm sure.
Well, my rate is $25 a day, plus expenses.
Money is no object.
Except when you don't have much of it.
That seems to be the motivating philosophy where Miss Harriet Huntress is concerned.
Who or whom is Miss Harriet Huntress?
A rather standard, rather obvious gold digger who wishes to marry Grover.
You want to tell me who Grover is?
Grover is my adopted stepson, my late wife's son.
Go on.
Next year, he will inherit $1 million left him by his mother.
Which explains Miss Huntress's interest in Grover.
Precisely.
Look, Mr. Jeter, am I being hired to smear Miss Harriet Huntress?
Not at all. Merely to disillusion Grover about her.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing. I think you'd better find yourself another boy.
Wait. There's more.
Okay, let's hear it.
Do you know a man named Marty Estelle?
Sure. He's a big-time gambler out on Sunset Strip. Why?
Mr. Estelle claims my son Grover owes him $50,000.
Well, then Grover'd better pay up if I know Marty Estelle.
But suppose my son doesn't really owe Estelle the money.
Does he or doesn't he?
Mr. Estelle supplied photostat copies of Grover's notes with Grover's signatures. I thought they might be forged, so without Grover's knowledge, I took them to a handwriting expert named John Arbogast, a sort of detective.
No?
He's not sure. He wants more time. I'd like you to take over the case.
Harriet Huntress and all.
Miss Huntress, as you may know, is associated with Mr. Estelle.
Well, that's incidental. I'll handle the forgery case and not the slander job. Now, where does this Arbogast have his office?
On Sunset near Ivar.
Okay, I'll look it up. Miss Huntress?
She lives at the El Milano on North Sycamore.
All right, I'll look her up, too. Arbogast and Huntress in the order named. There was no snooty secretary to prevent me from walking right into John D. Arbogast's extremely fat presence on Sunset near Ivar. He was an enormously fleshy gent with a thick neck that was in folds like a concertina. He wore a wrinkled dark suit that needed cleaning and some reweaving where it had some small holes in it. Arbogast just sat and stared at me with the whites of his eyes, because those 3 holes that needed reweaving were bullet holes. And John D. Arbogast was dead, very recently dead. I left in a hurry, and as far as I could tell, nobody saw me come, nobody saw me go. My next stop was the Swank El Milano Hotel on North Sycamore.
Just a second, mister.
Something you want?
Yeah. Who are you?
I'm the house detective.
Well, I'm looking for a Miss Harriet Huntress.
Miss Huntress ain't seeing anyone.
You can tell her it's Marty Estelle.
Are you Marty Estelle?
I'm from him.
That's different, ain't it?
That's none of your business, is it?
Well, whatever you're up to, you're not playing it very smooth.
Well, some days I feel like playing it smooth, and some days I feel like playing it like a waffle iron. Well, if you must know, I'm one of the boys. Philip Marlowe, private eye. Here, it's my card.
Yeah, well, that's another story. I'll phone up to Miss Huntress.
Yeah, say I'm from Marty Estelle, and make it convincing, huh?
How much convincing?
Oh, well, how much do those cigars you're smoking cost you?
$22.50, box of 50.
That much convincing.
Well, that's cute. You and me are going to get along. I'll phone Miss Huntress, but you go right on up. Room 814. I just know it'll be all right.
Harriet Huntress was too tall to be cute, too beautiful to be really cheap. Her green eyes were wide set, and there was plenty of thinking room between them. Her hair was a dusky red, like fire seen through a haze. The green eyes were that much green ice as she sized me up in the doorway.
Well, what's the big message, Sonny?
I'd have to come in. I never could speak very well in public.
Come in.
Never could speak very well on a dry throat either.
There's the scotch. Help yourself.
Thank you.
So, you're from Marty Estelle?
No, not strictly, not even loosely. Not at all, in fact.
What's your racket?
No racket.
Marty'll love to know you used his name.
I'm shaking in my shoes.
You're some kind of detective, aren't you?
Yeah, right. Philip Marlowe. Hey, it's good scotch here.
I'm glad you like it. Now, what's your business?
All right. How much will you take to give up Grover?
You look smart, but you talk stupid.
Old man Jeter's pretty tough. His idea is that you get nothing. You get smeared. I don't see it that way. How much?
How about $50,000?
How about $500?
How about talking about the effect of the rain on the rhubarb?
Now, look, sister. Suppose we skip the footwork, considering the sobering fact that a man named John D. Arbogast has already been murdered in this little case.
Does that have anything to do with me?
I don't know. He was hired to analyze some notes Grover gave Marty Estelle. He was killed just after I took over the case.
Do you think Marty Estelle works that way?
You know him better than I do, does he?
Have you told the police yet?
No, I thought I'd see if I could make a deal with you first.
I'm going to tell you something. My people were nice people who never got involved in murders. Old Jeter ruined my father. My dad shot himself and my mother died of the shock. I'm going to fix Jeter for that someday, even if I have to marry his son to do it.
Adopted stepson, really. There's no relation at all.
It'll hurt Jeter just as hard. And the kid'll have $1 million next year. I could do worse, even if he does drink too much.
You wouldn't want Grover to hear that now, would you?
No? Turn around and have a look, gumshoe.
I turned fast. He stood about 4 feet from me. Big, blonde, powerful. Whiskey in his brain and blood in his eyes.
I can say anything I want around Grover. It's all right with him. Isn't it, Grover?
That's right, Harry.
He's trying to break us up, Grover. What do you think of that?
I think maybe I better break him up. That's what I think of that.
She laughed, and that made me mad. I turned to growl at her. It was a dirty look. It was the look of the month. That was a mistake. The big guy hit me. I went over sideways. It wasn't a hard punch, but my head hit a desk going down, and the desk got the decision. It gets dark fast in Southern California, but seldom that fast. When I came out of it, Grover, the blonde sucker puncher, and Harriet Huntress were gone. But the bottle of scotch was still there, so I took that for a souvenir and stuffed it in my pocket and floated down the elevator into the street. It was dark by the time I got back to my apartment on Hobart Avenue in Hollywood. I turned on the light, and there stood a big guy, another big guy. This was National Big Guy Week. This one had a big nose, the dead color of wax. And he had a .22 caliber Colt Woodsman pointed straight at me.
Close the door and reach. Come on.
I turned a little to close the door. I got my hand under my coat. Then I turned back to Wax-Nose fast. I had my Luger out. We stood there facing each other. Wax-Nose didn't seem at all impressed with my automatic.
I just came to tell you to be smart.
You're looking at a Luger, mister.
I know. Men of distinction carry Lugers. Me, I pack this small bore because I can shoot. If you think you can take me, go to it.
Look, what's the game?
Maybe you can take a hint, and maybe you can't.
Maybe or maybe not. What is it?
Lay off old Jeter's boy.
Well, I wouldn't think of contradicting. Anyone who uses a Colt Woodsman .22 with the front sight filed off must think he's pretty good.
I am good.
Yeah. And that's why I say, okay, pal.
We'll see.
Speaking of .22s, do you know anybody named John Arbogast?
I meet such a lot of people.
Well, this one was fat and shot 3 times with a .22.
I don't remember shooting no fat guys today. So long, chum. Remember what I told you. Lay off Grover. So long, chum.
Yeah. Swell. Oh, shut up. Yeah.
Mr. Marlowe?
Oh, Mr. Jeter. Well, your son or your adopted son or your stepson or whatever he is poked me in the jaw today.
He is both my stepson and my adopted son.
Well, both of them poked me in the jaw.
My word, where?
In Miss Huntress's apartment.
You spoke to her? What did she say?
She wants $50,000 and no dice. I offered her $500, just as a gag.
Just as a gag? Mr. Marlowe, perhaps you underestimate the importance of this matter to me.
Listen, Mr. Jeter, there are some very unusual angles to this case. For example, a gunman just stuck me up in my own apartment and told me to stay off of this case.
What?
I don't see why this case should get so tough.
Good heavens. Listen, Mr. Marlowe, my chauffeur, Waldo, will pick you up in my limousine. I want to talk to you.
All right. Well, tell Waldo to park on Hobart facing Franklin.
He'll be around for you in 20 minutes.
Good. Just give me time to drink my dinner. Bye-bye. Next to Waldo, the chauffeur, as he tooled the big Jeter limousine through Hollywood, along the glitter of the Sunset Strip, out past Beverly Hills toward Bel Air. At Cavello Drive, we swung left for a couple of 100 yards, then left again, aiming for a driveway flanked by 12-foot wrought iron gates. Then something happened. Someone was standing in the glare of our headlights. Waldo swore and slammed on the brake shouting, "You stupid! Go and get out of the driveway!" The man stepped toward us. And the next minute, there was that same Colt .22 staring into my face again.
All right, this is a heist. Get out of the car, both of you.
Look, Wax-Nose, haven't you had enough fun for one night?
Fuzz off, bum. Shut up and get out.
I'd have to think some more on that, Buster.
I'm warning you. I'll let you have it.
Don't be a goon. You're going.
All right, you asked for it.
Hey! Holy. You shot the guy.
Yeah. I shot him. It was this. All in fun.
Yeah, some fun.
It did the work. Jeter's house is right ahead.
You sound as if you just shot a nickel in a pinball machine instead of a man. Now listen, turn off those lights and let's get out of here, but fast.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. In a recent test, New Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. Families all over America say New Pepsodent is their favorite, 3-to-1.
The William Kilpatrick family, 212 South Missouri, Claremore, Oklahoma, preferred New Pepsodent on every single count. The Kilpatricks say New Pepsodent tastes best of all, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter. On all these counts, by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1, families prefer New Pepsodent over any other toothpaste they tried.
It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say New Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Kilpatricks and other families who were asked to compare new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. Get new Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with the Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Romance of Rosie Ridge, starring Van Johnson.
Waldo and I drove back to my apartment again, leaving Waxnose lying dead in the Jeter driveway. We went back to my place to start all over again, over what was left of my purloined scotch.
Yeah, this is good scotch you've got here, Marlowe.
Bench bottle.
Not this.
Sure, I benched it from the apartment of Harriet Huntress.
Well, bottoms up.
Waldo, do you think that gunman was there to scare young Grover into realizing Marty Estelle means business?
Could be. I always drove Grover home around that time.
It just doesn't sound like Marty Estelle to pick that sort of a helper.
Well, sure. Maybe that's why he picked him. Because it didn't seem like Marty Estelle.
Yeah, that's good thinking, Waldo.
Dartmouth, 37. Rah, rah, rah.
That would be either the cops or Mr. Jeter. Hello.
Mr. Marlowe?
Yes, Mr. Jeter, and the reason we're not in your study now is lying outside of your front gate.
What's that you're saying?
Somebody jumped us outside of your gate and Waldo shot him dead.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Listen, Marlowe, come here at once. Do you hear? At once.
I'll send Waldo, Mr. Jeter.
I want to see you.
Waldo will tell you all about it, Mr. Jeter.
Marlowe.
Good night, Mr. Jeter. After Waldo, the chauffeur, had left, I went back to the El Milano Hotel. Hawkins, the house stick, was all smiles and open palms. I placed no confidence in his smile and a $20 bill in his palm.
Harriet Huntress again? What's the matter?
Just take me up to her apartment, that's all, huh?
Sure. Right this way, fella.
Hawkins took me to the 8th floor, room 814, and opened the door. There was someone in the room, waiting.
Here's company for you, Mr. Estelle.
Beat it, Hawkins.
Yeah, this is the guy I was telling you about, Mr. Estelle. Come in earlier today. Said he was from you.
Beat it, I said.
Oh, sure.
Come on in, Marlowe.
I came to see Miss Huntress, not you, Estelle.
Well, first of all, Harriet's not home. I came to tell her what happened outside of Jeter's gate.
So you keep informed.
I can't wait for her any longer. Got to get back to the casino. Now then, what did you come back for, Marlowe?
I'm looking for the Jeter boy. After what happened to him tonight, he needs somebody to walk behind him.
You think I play games like that?
All I know is we were shot at.
I asked you a question.
I answered it to the best of my knowledge.
What knowledge, for example?
Well, for example, you hold $50,000 worth of Grover's notes for gambling debts.
I've got $50,000 invested in the kid. Would I be likely to bump him off?
Ah. That makes sense, all right.
I always make sense.
Bully for you.
And when I have $50,000 invested in a guy, I'm apt to find out all about him. Like about old Jeter hiring a man named Arbogast to work for him. Arbogast was shot today. You know it. I know because I had you followed. You didn't tell the law, Marlowe. That could be very hard on you.
Well, could.
Does that make you and me friends?
A little blackmail, huh?
Not much.
We'll call it tattletale grail mail.
From now on, do you stop bothering Miss Huntress?
Yeah, you win, Marty.
Swell. That's all. I've got to go.
Well, I'll just wait around for a bit, okay?
Well, Harriet's scotch is in that cabinet there.
Thanks. I'll roll up my pants and go waiting in it.
You know, Marlowe, I like you. You're cute. So long, Shaman.
Marty Estelle was right. He wouldn't kill anybody who owed him money and was soon to come into a lot of it. Now I was in bed with the police for not reporting Arbogast's murder. Well, I looked around Harriet's apartment vaguely, walked into the bedroom, and stopped. Because mixed with the fragrance of good perfume and good cosmetics was the plain, ordinary, homespun odor of gunpowder. I walked across the room and yanked open the closet door and stepped back. There, just as big as life, but as dead as they ever come, was young Grover Jeter. And at Grover's feet, among the graceful shoes in Harriet's closet, was a tiny pearl-handled automatic. I felt bad about that, because I guessed that the dainty holes, the bullets from that dainty gun, would fit the two dainty holes over Grover's heart. I put the neat little pistol in my pocket. I thought old man Jeter ought to know about his son, I thought. I didn't expect to find Waldo, the chauffeur, and Harriet Huntress with old Jeter in Jeter's big study, but there they were.
Why, Mr. Marlowe, I'd about given up hoping to see you tonight.
Well, I changed my mind about coming out again, Mr. Jeter. Oh, Waldo?
Why, Marlowe?
Didn't expect to see you here, Miss Huntress.
Didn't you?
Did you expect to see me here?
Never mind that, Marlowe. I want to know where my son is.
What do you mean, Mr. Jeter?
He's missing. That's what I mean.
Oh.
He's missing, and no one knows where he is.
I know.
Eh?
What's that?
Where, Marlowe?
Miss Huntress, where did you and Grover go after Grover took that sucker punch at me in your apartment?
We went out together in a taxi. During the ride, I had a change of heart. I didn't want Grover or Grover's money. I told Grover to find another playmate, and I got out in Beverly Hills. Grover went on in the taxi.
And where did you go?
Back to my apartment. Later, I got out my car to come down here and tell Mr. Jeter I decided to forget the whole thing. For him to call off his dime novel, Salute.
A dime will no longer buy a novel of any description, but that is beside the point.
You said you knew where Grover is. That's not beside the point, is it, Mr. Marlowe?
He's back in Harriet's apartment.
Well, I didn't let him in. How on earth could he be?
Hawkins, your house detective, let him in. The last I saw of Grover, he was dead.
Oh, what? What's that?
Dead. Dead, shot with a small caliber gun.
I can't believe it. I can't.
Grover's dead?
Miss Huntress, this .25 caliber pistol was on the floor at Grover's feet. Here, take it. Look it over, will you?
It's mine.
You murderess.
I'm not.
You cold-blooded murderess.
Oh, stop that!
Stop it, both of you. It could have been suicide.
Suicide? Well, yes, that's a possibility, of course.
I see you like that idea, Jeter. But it wasn't suicide.
Then she did it. The murderess, the scheming, contemptible...
It was murder, and it's fairly obvious who did it, Jeter.
Eh?
Marty Estelle is my guess.
Well, guess again, Waldo. Estelle had $50,000 invested in Grover. He wouldn't kill a golden goose like that. And Waxnose didn't do it because he was dead, thanks to Waldo here.
That leaves her. She did it.
There had to be a motive and an opportunity.
Well, it was her apartment after all.
Correct, Waldo. But Grover was Jeter's adopted stepson.
Oh, like a real son he was to me. A real son.
Yeah. But did you lovely people know that in the state of California, a man can inherit from an adopted son who has money and who gets dead? Did you know that, Mr. Jeter?
Why, what do you mean?
Your inheriting Grover's $1 million would be a motive for killing him, wouldn't it?
Mr. Marlowe.
That was the motive, Jeter, and it was Waldo's job to find the opportunity to murder Grover for you.
All right, Marlowe. That'll be all for you.
Well, Waldo, the Dartmouth gun fanner, huh?
Drop that gun, Waldo.
Shut up.
I said drop it. Drop it.
Hey, that's nice shooting, Harriet.
My hand.
Well, Papa will put a little Band-Aid on for you, Waldo.
Waldo, you could have gotten into my apartment wearing that chauffeur's uniform. You could have gone in through the garage entrance and up the back way.
Sure. When Grover let him in, he backed Grover into the room with his gun, but he shot him with yours. How much was Jeter going to pay you for this job, Waldo?
Don't talk, Waldo. He's bluffing.
You're telling me he's bluffing.
Nice kids, these college boys. Tell me, was it Dartmouth or Dannemora, Waldo?
Shut up, copper.
You killed John Arbogast to throw suspicion on Marty Estelle. Then you hired Waxnose to fake a holdup on Grover. Why? Again to throw suspicion on Marty Estelle. To make it look as though Estelle was trying to scare Grover into paying his gambling debts.
If I hired Waxnose, why would I have shot him tonight?
Because you like to kill people, Waldo. When I was brought out here tonight, Waxnose thought I was Grover in the car. He began to fake his holdup. But you just couldn't resist taking one of your snappy snapshots at Waxnose, could you, Waldo?
Shut up.
Could you? Next, Mr. Wadsworth Jeter.
Look here, Marlowe. You can't accuse me of... Doctor.
He's sick.
Call a doctor.
It's his heart. If Jeter dies, it's your fault, Marlowe.
Okay, Waldo. Tell you what I'll do, Waldo. If Jeter dies, he doesn't have to pay me my fee. We're even. Okay, Waldo? Harriet Angel, listen, go call the doctor. And while you're there, call the law, huh? Jeter didn't die. His heart was as good as mine, if you want to make anything out of that. The law had Jeter and Waldo cold, and I mean cold. Me? Well, I went out a couple of times with Harriet, as I sat home with her a couple of times drinking her scotch. It was nice, all right, but I didn't have the money or the clothes or the manners. Still, I was sorry when she went to New York to live. She had absolutely the best scotch I ever tasted. Maybe because it was free. I don't know.
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the mystery series Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment. Have you tasted the new Pepsodent toothpaste? Its lingering, minty flavor is so fresh and inviting, families prefer it by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste they tried. In a recent nationwide test, these families said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter. Remember, new Pepsodent gives you more invigorating Irium foam. It sweeps dulling film away. No wonder it's the 3-to-1 favorite with families all over America. Get new Pepsodent with Irium for your family right away. Now, here is our star, Van Heflin.
The need for food in Europe tonight is desperate. Starvation faces a multitude of our fellow men. There's a way you can help. For $10, a package containing 21.5 pounds of food will be sent for you to a friend or a relative or any member of an organization you designate in Europe. Or simply say to a little French girl or to a Belgian war widow. Your order will be strictly respected, and you'll receive a signed receipt from the person who received your gift. Send $10 now. Send all you can. Send your $10 to CARE. C-A-R-E. CARE, New York. Help keep America the hope of the world.
Tonight's story was adapted by Milton Geiger from the story Trouble is My Business by Raymond Chandler, creator of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at this same time to another exciting mystery on the Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
For the safety of your smile, use Pepsodent twice a day. See your dentist twice a year. Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective, created by Raymond Chandler and brought to you on the air by Pepsodent, and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin. Now, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with Irium. New, fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. Yes, in a recent test, new Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. With families all over America, new Pepsodent is the favorite 3-to-1.
Families from coast to coast recently compared new Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. They preferred new Pepsodent by an overwhelming average of 3-to-1 over any other brand they tried. These families, 3-to-1, said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Yes, in a recent survey, families 3-to-1 said new Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, makes teeth brighter.
Get new Pepsodent toothpaste for your family right away. Now we invite you to hear Van Heflin as the Hollywood private eye, Philip Marlowe.
Quiet. Quiet. Hey, you there, Marlowe. Quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Quiet, you're on a bell.
All right. Roll him.
Speed.
Action.
Oh, Robin, my dear, don't you remember me? For all that my hair is cut so short.
Mary. Maid Mary.
Your very own Maid Marian, Robin, dearest.
Friar Tuck, Little John, free Englishmen, archers all. It's Maid Marian.
Cut. That's it. Print it.
All right, that's a wrap up here. Move over to stage 3.
They were filming a new Technicolor version of Robin Hood over at the big studios on Santa Monica Boulevard, and I was there on salary at the request of the director of the picture. Robin Hood and Maid Marian came off the set. Robin Hood was a magnificent sight in his Lincoln green and carrying that big English long bow and quiver of arrows. Maid Marian in her slinkily cut medieval white gown was something to make more than an arrow whistle. They spied me and walked over to me quickly.
Mr. Philip Marlowe?
Yeah, that's right.
My name is Seward Spencer.
Yeah, I know.
This is my leading lady, Ginny Kane.
Yeah, I know.
How do you do, Mr. Marlowe?
Yeah, how do you do, Miss Kane?
Let's go over to stage 9 and talk, shall we, Marlowe?
Talk. Every time I open my mouth on one of these sets, somebody hollers, quiet.
Quiet!
You see? Whatever happened to free speech in America? In Hollywood, anyway.
Stage 9 isn't a set. It's a little cafe across the street on Santa Monica.
Oh.
We've a lot to talk about, Marlowe.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go. You see, Marlowe, Demetrio Sador, my director, hired you for what is to me a very embarrassing reason.
It seems I'm supposed to protect you.
And I feel very well able to take care of myself.
Well, it's not safe with that half-mad brother of yours at large.
Did Mr. Sador tell you the whole story, Marlowe?
I said for me to get it from you.
Well, it was my fault that we ever sent for Caxton. But he's my brother, and he looks like me, and he's an absolutely terrific archer.
Seward here is much better looking, though.
Seward is the bow, but Caxton is the bowman, huh?
Well, they could have faked the scenes where I'm supposed to perform marvels of archery, but, well, we were all against that. Then I remembered my brother, a sporting goods salesman in Philadelphia, and a champion archer.
And so you suggested that they send for Caxton to double for you in the shooting scenes, huh?
Yes, in spite of the fact that Caxton hates the sight of them.
Go on.
I told Mr. Sador he could get the shots he needed with Caxton doubling for me. I'd go to my lodge at Big Bear during those 3 days.
Caxton always resented Seward here because he made good and Caxton didn't.
Now, let's see. There was something about Caxton leaving Hollywood, only not leaving Hollywood. What about that?
Well, he never picked up the return ticket that the studio reserved for him at the airport.
So you figure that Caxton's still in town, then, huh?
Definitely.
You think he'd pick a fight with you?
He picked a fight with Freddie Cole.
Who's Freddie Cole?
A perfectly harmless makeup man on the lot. And all Freddie asked was for Caxton to wear brown contact lenses over his eyes so he'd look like Seward here for the medium close-ups.
My brother has blue eyes, you see.
And he wouldn't wear the brown contact lenses, huh?
No, he refused flatly. He said, let my big-shot brother wear blue contact lenses.
What an unreasonable creature.
I don't know. It sounds reasonable to me. You said that he fought with a makeup man, huh?
Yes, but not for long. Freddie's half Caxton's size, but he knocked my brother kicking.
Ooh. I suppose your brother swore to get him for that.
How did you know?
I don't know. Instinct.
Philip Marlowe.
Philip Marlowe. Here, Mr. Sador, here.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe, this is terrible. Simply terrible.
They just found Fred Cole in Sherwood Forest. He's been shot.
Shot? What? How? Who?
I don't know who, but there's 2 feet of arrows sticking out of his back.
You better show me where Fred is, Mr. Sater. Come on, let's go on the double. Sherwood Forest is a wood where Doug Fairbanks Sr. made the silent version of Robin Hood, and they've called it that ever since. Freddie Cole was lying across the steps of the trailer that served as a field makeup room in Sherwood Forest. Mr. Sater's information was not correct. There were not 2 feet of arrows sticking out of Freddie's back. It was less than 18 inches. A bow of terrific power had done that job. Another trailer stood across the clearing from Freddie's body about 100 yards away. I walked through the clearing and knocked on the door.
Yes, sir?
The name's Philip Marlowe. I'm a private detective.
Oh, it's about poor Freddie.
That's right.
Come in, come in.
Thank you. Well, I see.
This trailer's my workshop, Mr. Marlowe.
You have a regular arsenal of bows and arrows in here, haven't you?
Yes, sir. I make and repair bows and arrows for the men in the picture.
See, it's about 100 yards from here to where Freddie was shot, isn't it?
Just about.
Did you ever service the bow of Caxton Spencer, the Star's brother?
I did.
Powerful weapon?
Very.
Good shot?
Very.
Bad man?
Yes, very.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thanks, Dad. I'll see you.
What was that you said?
I said I'll see you.
You called me something.
Oh, Dad.
Yes. So long, Mr. Marlowe.
So long, Dad.
So long, son. So long.
A murder on this lot is bad enough, but an unsolved murder is worse. I'm very worried.
About your star, Seward Spencer,
Among other things, Mr. Marlowe.
Well, why doesn't he leave town while this homicidal brother of his is still around?
Oh, he wouldn't go even if I asked him. Besides, every day lost now means money, and the bank wouldn't tolerate any more delays making this picture.
Any more delays? Have there been delays?
I started making Robin Hood 4 years ago. I got the sets built and then had to stop because I couldn't find the ideal man to play Robin Hood.
What was the ideal type for the part, Mr. Sater?
Well, he had to be romantic, good-looking, powerful.
And it would have been helpful if he could shoot a longbow, huh?
Yes.
Well, Seward Spencer couldn't shoot a longbow 4 years ago any better than he can today. Now, why didn't you hire him 4 years ago?
He wasn't a big enough star then.
Oh, he's big enough now, though.
Tremendous. He's another Gable.
So he doesn't have to know how to shoot a longbow now.
No, especially since his brother, who resembles him closely, could shoot a longbow.
Tell me, where did Spencer stay while his brother was whooping it up here at the studio?
Spencer had a lodge up at the Big Bear. Why? Any ideas?
Maybe. Look, Spencer is known all over the world, right?
That is correct.
Now, his double would have a hard time hiding out unless he hid in places where people expected Seward to be, right?
I hadn't thought about it.
Where exactly is Spencer's lodge at Big Bear?
You think his brother may be up there, posing as Spencer?
I don't know. It's an idea. Where did you say that lodge was now? It was a peachy hunch, and I was proud of it. Proud. Only no one answered my knock when I got up to Spencer's lodge at Big Bear. Getting in without a key was relatively small punkins, but it didn't pay off until I opened a closet door under a staircase. A body didn't fall out, but something else fell out, and I grabbed it before it hit the floor. It was a beautiful example of the bowmaker's art, curved and recurved and polished like glass under the thin layer of dust. I looked closely at the maker's name because I was beginning to get an idea. And then the grandfather of all hornets zinged past my ear. A fraction of an inch from my cheek quivered the shaft of a wicked-looking arrow, its steel head almost buried in the solid oak paneling behind me. A man was standing in the open doorway.
Now then, Mr. Marlowe.
Hey, what's the idea?
Make a move towards your gun, Marlowe, and I'll pin your hand to the wall.
Caxton.
Yes.
Caxton Spencer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a little taller than his celebrated brother. His cheeks were a little more sunken, and his eyes, unlike his brother's, were an icy, glassy, deadly blue. He shot that second arrow as fast as I could think. Believe it or not, that second arrow split the first one right down to the head. There was another thing about this lad that was different from Seward Spencer. He could shoot a longbow. Brother, could he shoot a longbow.
Well, aren't you going to reach for your gun?
Well, Robin Hoodlum of Sherwood Forest, huh?
You know what might be fun? A contest. The old versus the new. Medieval archer versus 20th century gunman.
You know, you're just as crazy as your brother thinks you are.
I see Seward's been talking too much again.
Look, Caxton, tell me just one thing.
You've got your archers mixed up. I'm Robin Hood, remember? Not William Tell.
What was this dusty bow doing in the closet?
That's mine.
Well, how did it get in this closet?
I was out here 4 years ago.
Oh, you and your brother were a little friendlier then, huh?
My brother wasn't such a big shot then.
I'm beginning to get it. Your brother sent for you 4 years ago to teach him how to shoot. You were looking for someone to play Robin Hood. Your brother wasn't a big enough name then, but he figured if he learned to shoot a longbow well enough, it might make up for other shortcomings.
Not bad, genius.
The Robin Hood picture was shelved before Seward could learn to shoot, so now he had to send for you again. But you had to quarrel with Freddie Cole and plant an arrow between his shoulder blades.
Maybe somebody was celebrating Arbor Day and planting things.
Ah, it's very amusing, Caxton. But let me say this.
Don't say anything. Just get off this case, understand?
Else what?
Else this. Only next time, 4 inches more to the left. Catch?
I catch.
All right, don't forget it. Just don't you forget it. So long.
So long. Keep your bows clean. Hello, operator. Operator. This is a police call. Connect me with the Santa Monica Boulevard studios of Rheingold Pictures. I want to talk to a Mr. Seward Spencer. It's a matter of life and death. And that's no mere figure of speech.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Yes, families all over America have named their favorite toothpaste. New Pepsodent with invigorating Irium foam. New fresh-tasting Pepsodent with a new, cool, minty flavor. In a recent test, New Pepsodent was preferred 3-to-1 over any other toothpaste.
It's true. Families all over America say New Pepsodent is their favorite. It's a fact. Families 3-to-1 say New Pepsodent tastes better, makes breath cleaner, and makes teeth brighter.
Remember, this is not just our opinion. It's the honest conviction of the Paynes and other families who are asked to compare New Pepsodent with the toothpaste they were using at home. Get New Pepsodent, the only toothpaste containing Irium. Get it for your family without delay. We continue with The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin, who appears by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of The Romance of Rosie Ridge, starring Van Johnson.
I couldn't reach Seward Spencer at the studio to tell him that his brother was around and on the warpath. I hung up for a second. And I tried something else, just for fun, just another hunch. Hello, operator. Give me Western Union, please. It was late afternoon, and therefore too late to telephone Philadelphia on account of the time difference. I sent my telegram and gave my apartment address back in Hollywood for the answer that I expected in the morning. Then I drove back to Hollywood. It was dark when I gave up trying to locate Seward Spencer, but a bright moon was climbing the sky by the time I got to the archery trailer on location in Sherwood Forest.
Yeah?
Hello, Dad.
Oh, Mr. Marlowe. Come in, Philip. Come in. Thanks. Leave the door open for a breath of air.
If you don't mind a late visitor.
Mind? I'm crazy about it. Gets mighty lonely, Philip.
Yeah, it would out here in this wilderness.
Yeah, it does any place for old people. Oh, can I offer you some hot coffee, son?
Well, thanks, Dad. I'd appreciate it, but I'd rather have some information out of you.
What is it, my boy?
Tell me, is it possible for an expert archer to conceal the fact that he's deaf with a long bow?
I think so.
Well, can he conceal the fact that he can handle a bow at all?
Oh, no. No matter how clumsy he was, he'd be too clumsy.
Oh, I get it. Like a guilty man trying to look innocent. He overdoes it. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, Dad, I'm going to pick up a bow, and I'm going to string it, put an arrow in it, and draw it. Now, I want you to stop me at any point where you can tell that I can't shoot a bow.
All right.
All right, I pick up this bow here.
Well, you can stop now.
Well, I didn't do anything yet.
You picked up the bow, and you're holding it upside down.
You mean there's an upside and a downside to these things? Does it matter?
It matters very much.
You might at least have played along with me a minute. After all, even a detective has his pride, you know.
asked me to stop you, and I did.
Oh, sure. I was just kidding you, Dad. Dad, is anything wrong?
No, nothing wrong. Excuse me. It's just that everybody else calls me Pop.
Oh, well, look now, if you'd rather I call you
No,
that,
I hate it. It's what smart, strong young people call old fellas like me. Pop. Treating us like children. Old folks ain't idiots.
Who says they are, Dad?
No, Dad, that's different. It's got respect and love in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we keep on calling you.
You see, I haven't any children. Not anymore.
Oh?
I had a daughter, but not anymore.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's not what you think. She's alive. She just didn't want anybody to know she had me for a father.
What?
Just like she didn't want anybody to know she was married to a plain makeup man at the studio. It might hurt her career, her doggone old career.
Dad, is your daughter in pictures?
She's in this picture. She's playing Maid Marian.
Jenny Kane is your daughter?
Yes, and I'm telling you because you treat an old man respectful.
Well, how could Jenny be your daughter and be so different?
Well, people are like bows, son. The same flesh and bone and blood, but entirely different. Now, look at this graceful little bow here. English yew wood. Pulls only 40 measly pounds, but it'll shoot as straight and as far as that 85-pound bow made out of the same material. Why? Workmanship and design. In people, it's called character.
And your girl Jenny got too big for Freddie, your makeup man husband, huh?
Too big for him and too good for me.
Dad, is Jenny in love with Seward Spencer?
Son, the girl's vain and proud and foolish, but she didn't kill Freddie. She couldn't pull that size bow.
But you just said that a 40-pound bow of good design will do the work of much heavier bows.
She didn't do it, boy.
All right. Look, you've seen Seward shoot after a fashion. Does he handle a bow like a man who could do better but is concealing his real skill? Dad?
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking if Seward Spencer loved my girl, but she already had a husband that had to be got rid of.
I'm asking you if Seward is faking his clumsiness with a longbow.
No, son. The lad just can't handle a bow. He's the world's greenest archer.
Well, then that puts the rap right back on his brother Caxton, I guess. He had a motive. He threatened Fred Cole.
Marlowe! I thought I'd told you something a few hours ago.
I spun around. Caxton Spencer stood outside of the trailer in the yellow light flowing out of the doorway. He stood there casually balancing that powerful longbow in his left hand. I wondered how he'd found me here, of all places, hours after he'd left me at his brother's mountain lodge. He took a step near the trailer door.
I told you to get off the case, didn't I?
It just slipped my mind. Now, what do you want?
I went back to the lodge after you left.
Yeah?
You sent a telegram to Philadelphia.
Maybe.
Not maybe, you did. I got the reply.
That reply wasn't going to come in until morning into my apartment.
Slight error, genius. You wired the public directory of Philadelphia asking about Caxton Spencer. It so happens they have a department that's open all night, and they wired back to the lodge. Funny thing, Marlowe. They say that no one named Caxton Spencer lives in Philadelphia.
How did you find me here?
I called the big director, Mr. Sador. He said you might be out here.
That's funny. I knew that Seda never would have told that voice my whereabouts. He'd have called the police. I looked with new interest at Caxton standing just outside of the trailer doorway. My examination got down to his shoes. The shoes were almost new, and his ankles were a full 1.5 inches above the tops of his Oxfords. Caxton Spencer was wearing elevator shoes to make him look taller.
Well, figured me out yet, Marlowe?
I put it all together. I put it together fast. Caxton moved. He whipped an arrow into his bow, and my left leg shot out and kicked the door of the trailer shut. I jumped to the window and opened fire.
Did you get him, son?
No, I missed him. Missed him a mile. He's beat it now.
Can't you see him anywhere?
No. Yeah. I don't know. The moonlight out there in those bushes. Turn out the lights.
Got us on the hook, ain't he?
Turn out the lights and get down on the floor.
Got him. Got him.
Get down. Get down.
All right. All right.
We're safe in here. He can't shoot through these walls. He's good, but he's not that good.
Don't know, son.
What do you mean you don't know?
Might. He could get to us even in here.
With a bow and arrow?
He's smart and he's mean and he knows his way around this here forest.
Can't shoot through this trailer.
He can shoot through the windows.
Well, we don't have to stand at the windows.
He don't have to hit us.
I don't get it.
We got some scenes a while back while Caxton was with us. Robin Hood's men shooting flaming arrows into some old castle.
Flaming arrows?
Arrows soaked in pitch and set on fire. Old medieval custom.
Oh, fine.
And there's plenty of that pitch still around here.
Where?
Out yonder, barrels of it. What did I tell you? There it is. There's the first of your flaming arrows.
Come on, let's put it out.
He'll pick us off if we try that.
Well, then let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Look, I'll go out first. You follow me and lose yourself someplace. You understand?
Old folks ain't idiots.
All right, follow me. Now keep low.
Right after you, son.
Keep low now.
Yeah.
All right, run for it. We dashed into the moonlight. A hornet clipped my cheek and whanged into the wall of the trailer. Run, Dad! Lose yourself!
See you later, son. See you later.
I dropped to the ground and didn't move, but my eye measured the angle of that last arrow in the side of the trailer and the direction it had come from. I raised myself on my elbow and fired back. Ah, wise guy, huh? Oh, that dirty... Reload, Marlowe. Come on, reload.
Just furnishing you an extra thrill, Marlowe.
You...
Or is that one getting stale, Marlowe?
2 shots left. 2 shots.
I've got 2 more arrows, Marlowe. That means 1 more is for fun, and the last one's for real, huh?
1 shot left. 1 shot. 1.
Now, Marlowe, any last words? Any brave quotable quotes? Any remarks for posterity?
You cheap 10, 20, 30 ham! I waited for the laughter. The taunting, baked ham laughter. It didn't come. I waited with my empty gun clenched in my fist. He was coming toward me. He knew I'd fired 14 shots and that I was finished. He could hit me from any distance. Why was he moving in on me? What was new? What was dirty with Caxton now? I jumped to my feet and drew back my arm to throw my gun at the first thing that walked out of those bushes ahead of me.
Don't throw it, son.
What?
Hold it.
Oh, Dad.
You all right, son?
Where's Caxton?
Dead.
I got him, then. With my last shot, I got him.
Hate to disappoint a smart young lad like you, son.
Oh, you said he's dead?
I didn't say you killed him.
What?
He's got a 28-inch arrow in his chest. Looks good, too.
How did you...
When I followed you out of the trailer, I grabbed some arrows in that 40-pound bow. I've been hunting, son.
And let me tell you, for what? There never was a Caxton Spencer.
Do tell.
Caxton Spencer fought against wearing brown contact lenses over his eyes for a very good reason. He was already wearing blue contact lenses. Seward Spencer never had a brother. He'd learned to shoot a longbow 4 years ago, but he kept it a secret when they finally decided to film Robin Hood. He had a better use for his skill with a bow. He was already planning Fred Cole's murder and invented a non-existent brother to pin the murder on.
Clever, very clever. I knew it all the time.
What?
That's what.
Well, then why did you tell me that Seward Spencer couldn't shoot?
Seward Spencer corrupted my girl and turned her against her rightful husband and her daddy. I wanted to get him myself.
And you did.
Fair and square and in defense of an officer of law.
That's right.
Well, I see that flaming arrow trick fizzled. It went off.
Oh, yeah, so it did.
Like to step inside and have that coffee now, son?
I sure would.
Then come on.
You know, like you said, Dad.
Watch your step.
Just like you told me. Old folks aren't fools. Not by a long shot, Dad.
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the mystery series Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Van Heflin will return in just a moment.
Men, here's an important announcement. News about a sensational hair tonic discovery. It's Trim Hair Tonic, made by Pepsodent. For the first time, science has created a hair tonic with pure virgin olive oil. There's no finer hair and scalp conditioner. Yes, because it contains pure virgin olive oil, Trim Hair Tonic conditions your scalp as it grooms your hair. Get new Trim Hair Tonic during the big 1-cent introductory sale at toilet goods counters now. 2 60-cent bottles, $1.20 value, only 61 cents. Ask for Trim Hair Tonic with olive oil.
Now, concerning next week, here again is Van Heflin.
Philip Marlowe paused in the stealthy darkness of the deserted brewery. There was invisible death lying in wait for him down in the bottom of the unused fermentation vat. But a very visible, dancing death was approaching behind him, dancing and weaving. And at the two risks, Philip Marlowe, unarmed and stunned, preferred the invisible one at the bottom of the great wooden vat.
Tonight's story was written by Milton Geiger, based on the famous character and modern detective fiction Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler. The original music was composed and conducted by Lynn Murray. This is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at the same time to another exciting mystery on the Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with the distinguished cast.
This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
It was hot, boiling hot that night. I wanted to grab a beer and turn in early. So what happens? I get my beer, but with it comes a gunshot, a beautiful woman in trouble, and murder.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime mystery, CBS presents his most famous character, brought to you now in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. With Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's unusual story, Red Wind.
There was a rough desert wind blowing into Los Angeles that evening. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair and make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends in a fight, and meek little housewives feel the edge of a carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen when the Santa Ana blows in from the desert. I closed up my office early. I got tired of reading Philip Marlowe, private investigator, backwards on the ground glass of my office door. So I locked up and decided a nice cold beer would taste good before I went up to my apartment.
Fill her up again, Mr. Marlin?
Marlowe.
Marlin.
Yeah, Marlin's a fish.
Yeah, I know.
Marlin's also the name of a lady on the radio. Marlin, Mary, the story of.
Yeah, my wife listens to it.
Oh, good for her.
Hey. Hey, you bartender. Another ride.
Yeah, that drunk again.
What do you expect in this business? Autograph hounds?
Make it sappy. You hear?
Be right with you, sport. Gotta draw this man a beer. Crying out loud, these stumblebums.
Hey, Bud.
You got another customer, Bacchus?
Hey, Bud, you seen a lady in here lately?
A lady?
Tall, good-looking, brown hair, a print bolero jacket, and a blue silk dress.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nobody like that, Spinion.
All right, straight scotch, fast.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
As the man drank, I noticed the drunk was grinning at him. And then, without changing his grin, the drunk swept a gun from somewhere so fast it was just a blur coming out. Made a couple of hard snaps and a little smoke. Very little.
You other guys, don't move. So long, Waldo. Don't move, you two. Poor Waldo. I bet I made his nose bleed. So long, boys. Break up.
Get on the phone, kid. I'll get his license number.
Holy smoke.
Too late. He drove away in the dead guy's car.
Maybe he ain't dead.
No, he's dead, all right.
Oh.
That guy was using a .22 target pistol.
Yeah.
When they use that kind of gun, they don't make mistakes. Where's your phone? This is for the police. Prowl car boys were there in 5 minutes. Waldo was out of business, all right. Nothing in his pockets told who he was, but he had about $700 on him. And with that kind of heavy coin, you can buy a good 1910 automobile even today. Well, I told the cops what I knew, including about Waldo's brown-haired, pretty girl in the bolero jacket. It was about 9 o'clock when I stepped out of the elevator in my apartment house and almost walked right into a brown-haired, pretty girl in a bolero jacket, waiting for the elevator on my floor.
Oh, excuse me.
Just a minute, lady.
What is it?
I'm a great admirer of bolero jackets.
What?
Now, take the one you've got on, for instance.
I'm sorry, but I'm in a hurry.
No, wait.
If you'll be good enough to let me... Oh, you've made me miss the elevator.
It's just as well.
What?
Well, it's better you don't go out in those clothes.
Just what do you mean?
Tall, good-looking, bolero jacket, blue silk dress. Mm-hmm. Lady, might I take the trouble of telling you that you're in trouble?
Trouble.
Yeah, the cops are looking for you. In those clothes.
I haven't done anything.
Maybe not. But if I were you, I'd have a little talk with me.
We've all the
I'm in
nerve.
room 41 across the hall. I know things about you.
Well,
Good girl. Come along. It took a firm grip on her arm, but I managed to get her to my room. I rustled up some drinks, but when I turned to give her hers, I saw she held a small automatic. She looked at me steadily. I put down both glasses slowly so I wouldn't be misunderstood. Look, sister, I know it's hot tonight and heat does funny things to people, but let's put that little thing away and have a nice cool drink, huh?
don't move.
Oh, I'm strictly frozen in my tracks.
Stay that way.
Okay. But wouldn't you like to know that I'm a private detective?
Private detective.
I can prove it if you'll let me. That's better. Yeah, I don't like those things pointed at me.
I'll have that drink.
Oh, good. I don't often give good liquor away like this. I can't afford it.
Why are they after me?
Well, a man was just shot in a bar down the street. Before he got it, he'd been asking about a tall, pretty girl with a bolero jacket.
What did he look like? This man.
Oh, he was tall, about 5'11". Slim, dark brown eyes with a lot of glitter. Dark suit, white handkerchief in the breast pocket. And he must have seen you early at night to know how you were dressed. Am I getting anywhere?
He used to be my chauffeur.
You had an appointment with him, didn't you?
I...
He asked for you, didn't he?
Yes, I had an appointment with him. He'd stolen something from me when he left 3 days ago. I was going to buy it back from him.
Why didn't you tell the police?
I couldn't tell him.
It was valuable, wasn't it? Valuable enough for Waldo to steal.
$15,000.
Peanuts.
But it wasn't the value. You see, it meant something to me. The man I loved gave it to me. Now he's dead. He was shot down over Germany. I'll go back and tell my husband that. He probably hired you.
He did? How much is he paying me? And where is this husband of yours?
He's at a meeting.
This late at night?
He's a very important man. The hydroelectric engineer.
Never mind about him. What about Waldo? Why was he knocked off?
You mean he's dead? Waldo is dead?
Yes, sister, he's dead, very dead. Screaming won't bring him back.
I'm not going to scream. Who would that be?
There's a dressing room behind the door. Hide there. Take your glass with you.
All right.
I went to the door, making a loud, yawning sound. Foolishly, I didn't have my gun. That was a mistake. Because when I opened the door, the guy on the other side certainly had one. A .22 target automatic that had already killed one man that night. And I knew the bald head, the flat, shiny eyes, and the face like a poisonous lizard. Baldy put the muzzle of his gun lightly against my throat. I backed into the room, and Baldy kicked the door shut.
You alone?
Look for yourself.
I'm asking, not looking.
I'm alone.
You and that dumb bartender saw me dust off Waldo.
What did Waldo do to you?
Who's asking?
Just making conversation.
He stilled on me on a bank job we did together. Got me 4 years in Michigan Penn. How is he?
Dead.
Huh. Well, I'm still good. Drunk or sober. Tell me why I came here, pal.
You heard the barkeep and me talking. I told him my name and where I lived.
That's how, pal. I said why.
Skip it. The hangman won't ask you to guess why he's there.
You're pretty tough at that, ain't you, pal? But you're slamming off.
All right. But, could you get that gun out of my neck and try somewhere else? Just any place.
This better? This suits you all right?
Yeah, just so it isn't my neck.
Say when, pal. It's your party.
I leaned against the gun weakly. The door of the dressing room showed a crack of darkness. The crack widened. I began to shake a little in spite of the heat. The girl came quietly into the room, but there was white all around her irises. She was scared. She had a gun in her hand, but I was sorry for her. Dead sorry. She tried to make the door a scream. Either way, it would be curtains for both of us.
Scared, mister? Worried about any little thing?
I couldn't talk. The girl floated in the air somewhere behind Baldy. And her horrified face was drifting toward us. My mouth was as cold and dry as yesterday's toast.
Well, kid, how's it feel? You ready yet? Say the word.
Well, don't take all night about it. If you're going to do something about it, do it.
Why not, pal? I like this.
Suppose I yell.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, look! Thanks, sister. That buys me. Everything I have is yours, now and forever.
Is he dead?
You flatter me no end, lady. I only punched him. Now get out of here while I call the cops down on this killer.
Yes. Good night.
Wait a minute. That jacket marks you for the cops. Leave it here. You don't need it in this kind of weather.
Oh, yes, here.
Okay. See you again?
Why?
I don't know. Who am I to be the rival of a dead flyer and things like that? No, on second thought, forget the whole thing. I'll see that the police get Jesse James here. Good night, lady. Yeah? You mean me?
Yes, please.
Oh, you again.
Get in. I want to talk to you.
You want to know what happened at headquarters?
Yes.
I went down to headquarters with the law and gave them the story. I left you out of it.
Oh, thanks.
You saved my life. So no one knows anything about you. Incidentally, neither do I.
My name is Mrs. Frank Barsley. 212 Fremont Place. Olympia 24596. Is that what you wanted?
I guess so.
Well, there it is.
Now, why'd you really come back?
I wanted my pearls.
Oh, no. Pearls, too?
Yes.
All right, tell me about the pearls. We've had a murder, a beautiful mystery woman, and a sadistic killer, and an heroic rescue. Now we will have pearls.
I was to buy them back from the man called Waldo.
Well, I saw everything that came out of his pockets. There weren't any pearls.
Could they be hidden in his apartment?
It's possible.
Waldo lived on the same floor you do, in this apartment house.
And why didn't I know him, at least by sight?
Well, he just moved in last week. He managed to get a sublet.
Sort of amateur magician on the side, huh?
It's, getting rather late.
Yeah. What about your husband this hot, mysterious night?
He's still at his meeting.
Good.
Why did you say that?
I didn't have any answers. We just sat there looking at one another. I was suddenly aware of the hot desert wind stirring up the night. I took hold of her and I kissed her. She sat very still. I was shaking when I let go of her. Her voice trembled a little when she spoke.
I meant you to do that. Oh, I wasn't always this way. Only since Johnny Dalmas was killed in the war. He gave me those pearls. 41 of them. With a diamond propeller clasp. I'd have loved them if they were wooden beads because he gave them to me. I loved Johnny. The way you love just one time. You understand that?
Yes, I can. What I don't understand is how you could explain a $15,000 pearl necklace to your husband.
Told him they were imitation. That I bought them myself.
How did Waldo latch onto them and what they stood for?
When my husband was in Argentina, Waldo and I would go for long drives. I was restless and wretched because of Johnny. Sometimes Waldo and I had a little drink together. But that was all.
But you confided in Waldo about those pearls.
Yes.
And when your husband came back, Waldo stole the pearls and offered to sell them back to you. He'd tell Papa.
Oh, I was a fool.
And now you think the pearls are upstairs in Waldo's apartment.
I suppose it's a lot to ask.
I've been paid. I'll go look. Wait here. Was I gone long,
No.
Lola?
Well,
No.
no pearls?
No pearls.
Oh.
There was a man in Waldo's room.
Man.
You know a guy named Leon Velasanos?
No, not by name. I don't know him.
Mexican, South American, about 45, small, iron gray hair, very neat. Fawn-colored suit, wine-colored tie.
No, I don't think I know such a man. You say he was in the room?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Very little. In fact, nothing. He was dead.
You are listening to The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by one of America's most outstanding writers of crime and mystery fiction, Raymond Chandler. Our story for today, The Red Wind, continues in just a moment. But first, a message of interest for all young men. How would you like to be up there in the wild blue sky, flying America's mightiest bombers, fastest fighters, and newest jet jobs? Believe me, it's a great feeling to know that you have the skill, the courage it takes to become a pilot officer in the United States Air Force, the Air Force that's second to none. Keep your eye on the local newspapers and your nearest Army Air Force recruiting station. An aviation cadet recruiting team will be in your community soon. If you're between the ages of 20 and 26 and a half years of age, single and a high school graduate, plan to see the aviation cadet interviewing team. If you pass the mental and physical examination, you'll be accepted for the 52-week aviation cadet training program. When you graduate, you'll be a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force, the mightiest of all. And now, back to the adventures of Philip Marlowe. With Gerald Moore as our star, we continue today's adventure.
I sat with Lola Bosley in her car, listening to the hot wind gallop around in the midnight streets. I just told her about the Latin-looking man I'd found in Waldo's room in a very dead condition. I held her hands until they stopped trembling, and then I gave her the few remaining details. He had a gun in a shoulder holster, but someone had strangled him before he could set up in business with a gun.
Someone. You mean Waldo?
Maybe. You see that convertible coupe 2 cars ahead of us?
Oh, it's been there for hours. It's there before I parked here to wait for you.
Well, Leon, the guy in Waldo's room, came in that car. But according to the key container he carried, it isn't his car.
Well, whose car is it? Does it matter?
Yeah, it belongs to a lady, according to the tag on the car keys. Eugenie Kolchenko, West Los Angeles.
Never heard of her.
Mm-hmm. Well, you better go home now.
What are you going to do?
I'll drive that flossy convertible around and wave at my friends. Impress people. You run along now. Me, I've got another date.
Yes. What is it, please?
Miss Eugenie Kolchenko?
Yes. What is it?
Did you lose or misplace a pigeon gray convertible coupe?
What are you saying?
Now, don't be alarmed. I found it, brought it home to you.
Come in, please. It is a reward you wish. Shall we say...
Snap out of it, dragon lady. Who was he?
Was who?
The little guy, Leon. You loaned your car to. He's dead. Who was he?
Oh, no. No.
Eugenie,
Darling, come here, please.
what's the matter, my dear? Who is this man?
I came about Miss Kolchenko's car.
What about her car?
Well, the gentleman who borrowed it couldn't return it on account of he isn't alive.
He's dead, darling. He is dead.
That's putting it more bluntly, of course.
Dead, huh?
Yeah, completely.
Who are you?
Philip Marlowe, private investigator. My card.
Have you told the police yet?
Never do at once what can be profitably deferred pending negotiation. Aesop.
I might negotiate.
Peachy.
Just what do you know, Marlowe?
Well, a man named Waldo was shot in a bar tonight. I happen to have the inside as to who he was, and when I visited his apartment tonight, I found this Leon Velasanos dead.
He wouldn't have had $500 in 20s on him, would he?
No. But this Waldo had over $700 on him when he was killed in that cocktail bar, mostly in 20s. Is there a basis for negotiation yet?
Very well, Marlowe. There were certain bills for some stuff Miss Kolchenko here had charged to my account.
But, darling, you told me I might charge to your account.
All right, my dear, so I wasn't bright.
That might be the understatement of the decade, but go on.
I had the bills safely in my briefcase. Somehow this Waldo had a chance to steal the briefcase. I hired Leon, gave him $500 to buy back those bills from Waldo.
Instead, Waldo took Leon's coupons, was forced to kill Leon in the process. Then he went out to keep another date and walked into an old pal hostile enough to blow him down, huh?
And somebody still has those bills, and I'm in for a divorce suit, huh?
The man who shot Waldo got away in Waldo's car with your briefcase in it, could be. Cops caught him.
And the police have the briefcase?
Maybe. But the police are interested in solving crimes, not in tossing mud for the benefit of sensation eaters. I have a friend or two at headquarters. Let me see what I can do.
It's worth $500 to me, Marlowe.
Then that's what it'll cost you.
All right. Good luck, and thank you, Mr.
Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, remember?
Marlowe. My name is Frank Barsley.
Barsley? Oh.
And just what does that mean?
The big hydroelectric engineer.
Yeah. Yes, how'd you know?
Never mind. May I use your telephone? Someday I must tell you about Ibarra. Oh, he's a soul of the earth, Ibarra. Detective lieutenant over at Central Homicide. Well, I phoned Ibarra from Miss Kolchenko's house and told him where he could find a well-dressed cadaver named Leon, and furnished a few small details. I gave Ibarra time to check my tip, and then I went down to see the good lieutenant and told him why I'd been up in Waldo's room, only to find Leon instead of a certain lady's string of pearls.
Pearls, eh?
Yeah, I thought Waldo might have had them up there.
Whose pearls were they?
A lady's.
Go on.
Or they might have been in Waldo's car that Waldo's killer drove away in.
Yeah?
What, yeah?
They might have.
Yeah. Also, a batch of bills charged to the account of a certain Frank Barsley.
Yeah?
The police aren't interested in domestic scandal. They want to prevent or solve crimes, right?
So?
So, I've got $500 for the police fund. If those pearls and those bills are returned to their rightful owners.
Quit your kidding.
It's a valuable necklace.
Yeah. There's your necklace. Take it away.
On the level, Ibarra?
Just tell me straight what it's all about. All I ask.
Sure. Well, you see, this Waldo was blackmailing a wife with the pearls and her husband with the bills. Bosley, that's the guy's name, sent Leon to get the bills from Waldo. Waldo killed him and then stepped out and got nailed by that guy in the bar he'd stool pigeoned against once. Well, if Bosley's name stays out of the papers, I get $500. It goes to the police fund.
Thanks. We'll keep him out.
I'm not in this case for money. I just want to get back the bills and the pearls.
Sure. And like you say, Marlowe, the police aren't in business to sling mud.
Look, you can deliver the pearls to the lady yourself if you like.
No, you better take them to her, Marlowe. You see, except for that diamond propeller clasp on them, they're phony.
Phony?
But look, Marlowe, I know pearls. Real pearls feel gritty between the teeth. These are hard and glassy. Try.
Yeah.
They're phony. All but the clasp, Marlowe. All but the clasp.
I took the pearls and had them appraised the next morning at a gilt-edged place in Beverly Hills. Phony, all but the clasp. An imitation as good as these couldn't have been made that fast. These were the pearls that Waldo had stolen. I took the glass pearls to a dive on Melrose and had them duplicated for $20. I had the jeweler attach the diamond clasp to the $20 duplicate string of pearls. Then I called up Lola. Hello, Lola. Okay, you're in?
Oh, Mr. Marlowe. Yes, it's okay here.
I have a string of pearls for you.
Oh, really, Philip? Really? Did you get...
Now, wait a minute, Lola. Waldo was getting set to gyp you. We sold the real pearls and made up a string with the diamond clasp.
Well, may I at least have the clasp?
Sure. Meet me at 4 at Nikolaev's.
Nikolaev's at 4. I'll be there.
There you are, Lola. These are the pearls the police found in Waldo's car.
You were right. They're not my pearls.
I'm sorry, Lola.
No. Still have the clasp that Johnny gave me.
Well, I'm happy if you are.
Happy? No, not quite happy. See, this morning my husband told me we're to separate.
Oh, I'm very sorry, Lola.
You've been very kind.
That's all right.
This is goodbye, I suppose.
Yeah. You'll never get over Johnny Dalmas. Goodbye, Lola. And if anybody ever bothers you again, let me know, huh? Name's Marlowe. Philip Marlowe.
I'll remember. Philip Marlowe.
I drove almost to Malibu. And then I parked. And then I walked. Way out on a rock cliff, jutting into the Pacific Ocean. And then I reached into my pocket and dug out the string of Bohemian glass pearls Lieutenant Ibarra had found in Waldo's car. I cut the knot at one end and slipped the pearls off, one by one. One by one, I flipped them into the water. Should have seen the gulls swoop down on them. Then they flapped up again, screaming indignantly. Phony pearls. They'd fooled Waldo and Lola Barceley, but they couldn't fool a seagull. I said aloud, to the memory of Johnny Dalmas, just another four-flusher. I listened a while to the wheeling seagulls. All at once, I realized that the wind had died. The Santa Ana had blown itself out. The red wind was done. It was over. It was cool again.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. In tonight's story, Red Wind, Lola was played by Peggy Weber, and Barry Kroger was Baldy. Joan Banks played Eugenie Kolchenko. Jeff Corey was Lieutenant Ibarra. Parley Bear was Barsley. Lou Krugman was Waldo. And Wilms Herbert played the bartender. The special music was conceived and conducted by Ivan Ditmars. Philip Marlowe will be back in just a moment. Young man, be a Marine. Combine travel, adventure, and education at no expense to yourself. When you're a Marine, you can travel to the far places of the earth and carry on at the same time your own educational program through free Marine Corps Institute correspondence courses. You have plenty of courses to choose from, and an ideal way of studying geography or history is to take a course dealing with the background of the area in which you are stationed, or any of the more than 160 Marine Corps Institute courses. Thanks to this Marine Corps Institute, thousands of Marines are making continual educational advancements during their service in the U.S. Marine Corps. That opportunity, upon becoming a U.S. Marine, is yours for the asking. Check with your nearest Marine Corps recruiting office tomorrow for complete information. Next week at this same time, be sure to tune in for another adventure of Philip Marlowe, when Marlowe says,
I was low, very low the night I set out searching for the girl with the strange hazel eyes. The fog which hung over Los Angeles didn't help. And I felt even worse when I found her. For by then I had death on my hands.
If you like your laughs mingled with spicy music, be around tomorrow to hear the premiere of Alka-Seltzer Time, featuring Herb Schreiner and Raymond Scott's quintet. There'll be guest stars, too. Here's a show that's guaranteed to keep Monday from being blue. It's coming your way Mondays through Fridays over most of these CBS stations. So consult your local newspaper for the time of Alka-Seltzer Time. This is Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.